my God. What's up, squishies? What's up, people? Is your new go-to?
I don't know what the to say. God damn it.
You just said it right afterwards.
I ruined it. I ruined the attempt to be PG-13 immediately.
That is such a ridiculous beginning.
I'm not good at not cursing.
This is a true story. This is a super true story.
In real life, I'm already not good at it, and like you have to put on, when you're doing any entertaining, you have to put on a persona, and the persona I have trained myself to have enough energy involves, I don't think it's a tier list, but you know, we could involves shouting a curse word apparently, and I don't know how to turn that off.
Wow. You need to put on what we're doing in the thing all the time. Welcome back, Nelly.
I don't know why it's not doing changing the title anymore. It literally
just said the weirdest shit.
Well, what's it saying?
I don't know. It was like wild card or something.
Probably not wild card or something. It's probably the magic one, because the magic one showed up with the title of the stream before it. I don't know why it's doing this. It's one stream behind every time.
So we're
more kerosene.
Yeah. How does my sound? How is my sound? All of the happy squishies, because once again I'm on the road. On the road again.
Hey squishies, did you know that you have an emote now? Did I put that on Twitch? Did I give the squishies the emote on the place where they live?
I don't know. Can you put the squishies emote out here? Because it's a great emote.
I think squishies can be one of our few.
Yeah, hell yeah. Squishies should
unless it's already on. Nope, I haven't uploaded it yet, so let's give the squishies their emote.
Here it comes.
Here comes the squishies. Emote name? Squishies. Alright, squishies, you have an emote now.
Stick it in. Let them see the squishy.
Well, I got it. It's there. It's
where?
Hello, Mountain Ash Tree. Thank you for subbing. 6 months in a row is crazy. So should we get into the most recent chapter before we start?
Hey, the separation. Thank you for subbing. We should get into the most recent chapter.
I think next week we should do a review of Ace. I know you've been talking about Buggy, but you like Ace better, so I think it should be Ace.
If we're gonna be honest, Ace still crushes my heart.
Uh-huh.
Guys, check out your emote. Give it a try. Stick it in the thing so I can see what it looks like in chat.
Emote. We're 93% of the way to a level 2 hype train, everybody. Or is that a level 1? I don't know what it is. We're so close.
Can you not see your own screen?
Oh, I forgot Twitch emotes take forever. Never mind, you guys don't have an emote yet. You'll have an emote later. Discord, it's immediate. Twitch, it's like, nah, you gotta wait 3 hours. Dr. Jack does. It uploaded. It works.
Yeah.
Oh shit, we made it. We made it to a level 2 hype train.
At the exact same time, the squishy little squish came out.
Oh, we're down on subs. We've been losing subs. I guess we're done the series. That makes sense. It's gonna take a while to build back momentum. Damn. Yeah. That's how it be.
That's how it be.
Oh, Amrant's Corner. That's one of the programmers working with my game, but the person with the most education and game design who's been helping me, I think, and has been a huge help already with getting our GitHub set up for Critical Crits, which is awesome.
That is awesome.
No worries.
Okay, so we've been talking back and forth. We've decided that we're going to do a few different things. The one thing that we're going to do is we're going to do a roundtable discussion to talk about what is going to be the next manga that I read and that we read together. I would prefer if that manga wasn't something that Drawk had also read.
Yeah.
But it's hard because Drawk has read a lot in comparison.
I've read a lot of the good ones. I'm selective. Meshi I've read is the issue. But I do think what we talked about is doing like a stats review episode where we have like funny depth or layers or themes, whatever you want to call it, level of darkness, and we kind of, and just like people's overall like thoughts about quality, and we take all the best manga and we make like a stat sheet of it for a spread where you get to pick. So I think like maybe that should be next week instead of Ace. What do you think? Would you rather do Ace next week or that?
I would prefer that we started that so we have our next manga on the go.
I think we can fit both though, because our Blackbeard conversation only took 2 hours. Like character analysis tends to be a bit quicker because we come in with an agenda.
Thank you for the subscription. 2 people who subscribed.
2 people subscribed.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the first thing. So we want to do that. I want to do that next week because I want to get our read on. And I do want to read Berserk, even though it will murder my soul.
Yeah, I mean it's built to. That's its agenda. That's what it's there.
That's actually its agenda, yeah. But I think palate cleanser in between Berserk and One Piece is necessary. So I think that, but we put Berserk in there as a piece. And then the other thing that we are going to do is we're going to do quick reviews every week because the chapters come out and we need to actually be able to see them and talk about them because we're freaks like everybody else. We want to talk about our One Piece.
People are saying Finland Saga is good. That's one I haven't read.
That would be interesting. We're going to need people who have read the things. So if you are part of the Discord or if you are a person here, we need to have your suggestions and why you think it's great. Because we're going to be having a roundtable discussion about it.
Yeah, I think we should definitely have it be in the stream hangout and have it be open to all of the mods and regular guests I have on the channel to just come in and like pitch theirs as we're getting the stats out.
Yeah. And then we will choose our new awesome manga for that so that we can carry on with that. We're going to be starting to invite people to come in for discussions. We're going to try and do it in some sort of order. People are going to talk about their favorite arcs, chapters, or pieces.
Yeah, basically
and we're going to have
going back through the series, bringing creators on to talk about their favorite arc as we go back through.
And we want to start from the beginning.
I also don't think it needs to be their favorite arc, but I think it needs to be like the arc that they like more than the community seems to in general, like the one that they see
I like that idea too.
Because I think
the other thing
Eni's Lobby is one of my favorites, but I don't think that's because it particularly appeals to me. I just think that's because Eni's Lobby is very, very good.
Yeah, like I would always go Impel Down.
That one is unique though. That's not like a common top arc. So that's one that like if someone else is doing this, they'd invite you on for.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that we invite people and we say to them, like, we're going to be going through this part all the way forward again. We want to start from the beginning to the end. If you have a hot take, as in you like a chapter or an arc more than other people, we'd love you to come on and we'd love to do analysis with people because I think that would be so freaking cool.
Say, whoever said Hunter x Hunter is One Piece-esque, I don't think you're wrong, but I don't think you're right either. I think, you know what I mean. I love Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter is great.
Thank you for subscription more. And then the other thing we were saying is that we think we're going to wait and because somebody came up with a really good suggestion. So we'll do quick One Piece new chapters. And then every 5th one we'll do a longer analysis about them. And we'll go through with a lot more success because here's the one major problem.
Recosine by the way, just so you know.
There's only so cool Luffy is chapter to chapter. It's amazing because some people were saying in one of the older in the Wano about how I always give Luffy excellent tears, and I'm like, well, he's always excellent. And then I was like, well, actually, you'll notice that if you come chapter to chapter, that goes away.
I'll say there is a reason that Luffy isn't allowed on the top 5 character list. It's not because he's too shitty. There's a reason he's constantly raking an ass.
Exactly. He's constantly kicking ass. And then the other thing that we want to do is we're going to be breaking down a bunch of different analysis. So characters, we're going to be breaking down. I agree. I want to do Ace first. Ace is my boy. I want to do Ace.
So let's do roundtable discussion about what manga is next week, as well as the Ace discussion. And
I agree.
I think the Ace discussion is going to be interesting because both of us are going to do a lot of digging, I think, because the biggest thing about Ace really is how much the world thought he was the main character.
Yeah.
Like something we talked about a bit yesterday when we were doing Magic the Gathering colors for One Piece characters is how like One Piece has a bunch of characters who feel like they are the main character of their version of One Piece, like one of them being Kobe. But like what's unique about Ace is I think until he decided to sail under Whitebeard instead of being on his own, his story wasn't if One Piece was a different manga, I'm the main character. It was he is the main character of this story, basically.
When I first met Ace, like immediately when I first met Ace, I was like, this is a problem because this dude, in my opinion, is a more intelligent, older, more even somehow more adventurous while maintaining some kind of intelligence version of Luffy. How are we going to move forward? Which
Yeah,
is one of the reasons that I knew that Ace would die.
he's still a dumbass, absolutely, in the
Yeah.
ways that Luffy needs to be a dumbass, but while
Yeah.
still being intelligent in the ways Luffy isn't, that are actually a hindrance to Luffy.
And so not only do I want to do the big people and go through our big people, but Way makes a point, discussion on Big News Morgan. I think we need to include some of the smaller people and how they are connecting the world together.
The issue with Morgan's is we can't do a video that's going to be fully accurate with him until we know where that bastard's been secretly hiding, because that him in full albatross form and him in human form have definitely been in the background. And I don't know where. I have no idea who it is. I don't know who Morgan's is, but he's been there and I know it. So maybe it's a detective episode. Maybe it's a corkboard episode for Morgan's where we just like, we talk about what's up with him and like his details about Morgan and the insane amount of power over the world he has, what he represents, blah, blah, blah. And then we go into fucking like, who are you?
Yeah. So I was going to say, I already kind of wrote it down and was going to talk to you about it later. But I was going to say that we have a six different episode types that we do, and one of them can be cork boarding as our sixth one.
Yeah.
So you'll always know ahead, is this one where we're going over a particular character, if we're doing the new manga, if we're talking to people about their favorite One Piece, or if we're unpacking, or are we cork boarding. And when we cork board, we pick a topic and we go hard.
I don't think Morgan's was in Logotown, I'm just gonna say, because like why would he be that? He didn't know, no one knew anything was gonna happen, you know, like nobody knew Luffy was gonna show up.
Isn't it possible that he did, given that he was attached to he's not just attached to world government, he's got his finger on the pulse of everyone. He has his finger on the pulse of revolutionaries, of pirates, of government.
Like, who is Luffy in East Blue? I don't know. I'm not feeling him in Logotown. I don't think he was in Logotown. I think a reporter was there, and that's all that matters.
I agree.
Let's get to the current chapter and you getting vindication for all the comments who were like, you can't store hockey long-term in objects. It's not everybody. There is a contingent of people I'm noticing who, until something is explicitly said textually, they are like, instead of we don't know that's true or that might not be true, they think that nothing is true if it hasn't already been explicitly said, which, can I just say, in a mystery series is fucking like absurd. What an absurd perspective. But yeah, you get vindication, huh?
Yeah, so I said it a few times that I believe you could store hockey long term inside of objects and different pieces, and people were like, no, that's not a thing, you can't do that, that's not how hockey works. And I was like, yeah, that's not how hockey works yet. You don't know, like, you're not done the story, so let's find out. I am not gonna lie, when I saw this, I kind of just put down my piece and was like, yes, that would be me being incredibly freaking right. And when Drawk read it, he looked over at me and he's like, how does it feel to be so wildly vindicated?
Yeah, we read it side by side on the balcony at the family cabin. It was great. That makes us sound about as bushy as we are.
Our family cabin is it's small. It is technically zoned as a garage. It is small enough that, as far as our bylaws are concerned, for the place the cabin is built, it is a garage, not a cabin. Yeah, we lost Drawk's grandparents all at once, and they left the cabin to us. It used to be theirs, and it's super funny because they decided that they may want to build something one day, and then they decided not to. But they built basically a garage with a bathroom, a place for a kitchen, and a
Yeah.
living room, and it's kind of awesome. It's really fun. So we sat together and we read it, and I got to find out that I was the most vindicated in vindicating history.
The knot is also interesting because both of us started to get our minds whirring about how the idea of storing hockey feels very much like how dials work, where you blast whatever into them and they store it. But also the only other place we've seen ropes that have knots that store things is with the wind knots. And that's a Sky Island technology. And I've been going off about how I believe a ton of the Sky Island tech and stuff is the way it is because of modification by Lunarians, the ancient kingdom. So the idea of there being something like a wind knot that's been built to store hockey kind of feels like that, and works like dials, kind of feels like it leans into what I've been saying lately also.
Yeah, I would agree. I think I get a gold star, first of all. Twisted, thank you very much for pointing that out. That's a math ding. And I would agree with you. I would also mention then that we were talking about it, and if you see knots holding things in the weather system where they undo it, and they can undo it to greater and lesser extents, like extents like a single untying is a nice breeze on a hot day, a double untying, etc., etc.
Yeah, Demodor,
Then
what I'm talking about when I say a Sky Island has the technology to store things is with area.
anyway, what I was saying
God damn
because
it.
when we saw that, that's one of the reasons later on I asked again, because Drawk and I pointed out that I'd asked the question about storing Hake in many places. Hey Frost, but some people were like, no, they're just storing a specific thing. It's almost identical in the way that it is to an impact dial or any of the other dials. And I was like, I don't think so. So I think that it's really interesting because it also asks questions like, what other ways of storing Hake are they in One Piece? What more are we going to
It is a
see?
different knot.
So do you want to know a question that I started to ask?
What's that?
Because at first I started to ask, like, how does, I don't know, say a phoenix regrow? Does a phoenix die and be reborn inside of an egg? I don't know. But can Hake be stored? Can Hake be stored inside of an egg? Say that was on, I don't know.
You're back on egg piece, huh?
I'm just saying that if you're carrying around an egg on your boat and we see you with that egg everywhere and then it disappears.
The black-bladed swords absolutely are a sword like Enma built to be strong enough, filled with Haki permanently. Like, that's one that I feel is for sure.
Well, we know that. But can it be stored in an egg?
Is there a
possibility? Is there a possibility that there is something within this egg that is stored inside that can only be opened, I don't know, by Joy Boy-esque people like Luffy or whatever? Or will Haki detect Haki like Haki? Will Luffy's energy and Haki and who he's been, hey Duck, detect other ones, and will that activate something in Egg? Egg is going to be there. If you think about Egghead Island and the opening of Egghead Island on the top and all the other places that we see Egg and then the carrying around of Egg, it's just enough and just little enough that Egg is going to have special meaning.
You are so on about Egg.
It's going to have special meaning. And you're going to say to yourself later on, God damn, why didn't I jump all over Egg piece? Why didn't I make an omelet? Why didn't I cut up some mushrooms and put it in there and help spice this shit?
I don't think Roger's egg is unimportant. I just fucking... You haven't been around the community long enough to know how common it is to be like, we've learned a new thing about One Piece. What if this is what Roger's egg is about? Like,
oh, that's hilarious.
Like, oh, I have to fucking rude Haberfax.
Hey, Haberfax.
Bop. Bop.
Why is what a bad Haberfax. The reason I'm doing it in this case isn't just like random. If You there? Yeah. If
Yeah.
we're talking about the storing of hockey and we're finding out about how, yeah, it was actually tied somebody's, and not just a little bit of hockey, mind you, like enough to send every one of
Oh yeah,
the bloody planets
the most
except
absurd
one
shit.
back to their home and be like, you bad. And enough to freak Emu out. Emu!
Yeah,
Like,
the knot has a loop. Look, the knot had a loop. I'm sorry, I need to go back to before I deleted everything so that people can see that the knot had a loop. It's staying deleted, but look, there's a loop. How do you not? Look, there's a loop. Dongne. Look at it.
I
Look
see
at the
nothing,
loop.
so it doesn't.
Anyways, it's deleted now anyways.
Anyway.
No, you're allowed to do. Don't feel bad. That's
Stick
the rules.
with me.
I'm sticking with you.
So anyways, if you for the very first time see the ability to store hockey, and you're told that we were on Egghead Island, and the top of Egghead Island is where it holds all the new information. It's a birthing of a new era. We're coming to the final chapter. It's helping us to feel like we're moving into the closing section and we're birthing the end. Then of course you should be asking whether or not hockey can be stored inside of the egg.
Okay. What I'm telling you though is that the egg has been one of the few things in One Piece where every time we get any reveal, everybody immediately goes, what if this is finally the thing? So I have become numb to what if this is the egg? Like,
yeah, I don't give a shit. You can't let yourself become numb. That's going to be the problem. You're not going to find anything.
but the
I just
egg
got
could
to the
be
end of One
anything.
Piece.
The egg could be a devil fruit.
Okay,
The egg could be
which
what a
means that I could
Lunarian's
be
going to
right.
hatch from.
Which means that I could be right. And
What
the
if a
egg could be
Lunarian's
storing,
going to hatch from the egg?
and which means I could be right, and they're storing hockey inside of the egg.
What if the egg has Little Oars Jr.?
Okay, Drawk, you are being an asshat. I haven't been at the end of One Piece for forever, and I'm telling you, I think that this is a possibility.
All right, I'm with you. I'm with you. I understand. I think the egg is a laboon.
You're the worst.
That's not true. I don't think that. I don't think
when
that
the egg opens up and it was filled with hockey and it helps them to win their battles at the end, I just want you to know. Yeah. You should have got on board egg.
I'm going out. I'm saying it's possible. If it happens, I will say you were right and you win vindication. I don't think the egg is stored hockey. I think the egg is a critter. I think, hear me out, that each of the ancient weapons requires a creature.
Thank you, Scrub.
Each of the ancient animals weapons requires a creature. The one in the sky requires dragons. It's why the celestial dragons named themselves that, and it's why they hired Vegapunk to make dragons, because they needed to use Uranus. And I think the egg was the last egg of a dragon, a real, true, honest dragon. That is my actual belief about the egg, that it was an egg for a real dragon. Possibly where Vegapunk got the DNA to make dragons, and I think the reason that's important is because Uranus needs a dragon to function.
For a while, I just simply thought all it was is to help our Phoenix boy, Marco, when he goes into a Phoenix Reborn.
But he's not on Roger's crew.
No, I know. I was like, it's got to be something like that. Like I thought about another creature having that same kind of thing.
Okay, fair.
All right. But this is what I'm wondering about. How else can it be stored? And if it can be stored in that way, where else are we going to see stored hockey? What other treasures will Joy Boy have left behind for us? Like, I think that we're coming into a very cool period of time.
We are.
We're going to start to see, like, start to see little treasures that were left behind for us. Let's go through the chapter though, because we haven't. I just want to say before we say anything, people are not angry enough, and by people I mean you. About Kobe wanting to F up Luffy's dreams.
Can I say, I think you are reading into this wrong, that this is not from him a statement of, I want to fuck up Luffy's dreams. This is him saying, the fate of the world is at stake. I am so committed to this that I will get the One Piece at any costs. I'm sorry, Luffy. That means you can't have it.
I agree with you on that.
It's a statement of commitment. It's a statement of how committed he is to saving the world.
And I agree that he's committed to saving the world, but I also think that he's learned enough about who Luffy is, and he has admired Luffy for long enough that I actually think that what he should be saying is, Luffy, it's time for a talk. And that it should be a Whitebeard Shanks-esque talk where the two of them meet up and talk about the state of the world. The
But
the whole I'm just gonna take over and I'm super committed crap is saying that you don't have enough respect for the other person's game and for the other person's agenda.
I think
And
he
I think
doesn't have respect for Luffy's agenda. Luffy's a
but he
pirate.
does. He did. He said before that when Luffy does things that he tends to do them in a way that make things turn out better. So like he needs to be able to be the kind of man who comes and meets Luffy. He needs to be in a man zone and not a boy zone. And I feel like right now this is the reaction of a boy. A boy who's like, I am so committed to doing this. I'm going to do it on my own and I'm going to come in. Where a man would say, just as Shanks proved, I'm going to go and meet. We're going to have a talk.
I mean, fair, but also I think he's just like, well, I'm gonna do it. I think if it comes down to it, he will talk to Luffy, but I think this is a statement of resolve, and I respect it. I respect Kobe. Get at it, Kobe. The only thing I don't respect about you is you don't know how to name attacks. Your ability to name attacks is atrocious.
I don't respect it, Kobe. I think you're acting like a small boy. You need to man up. You just grow something. Go stand in front of Luffy and have a talk mono and mono. To make a plan to save the world. Because when does saving the world work best? When does saving the world work best? When one dude is like, I've got this. I'm going to stop.
Thank you, Duck in Space 777 for subscribing.
Seriously.
Thank you.
What a little boy. What a little boy you are, Kobe.
Learn to name your attacks better, though. Really embarrassing.
I have to stop your dream from being realized. You know what? Kobe even looked like a child in this picture. Somebody was talking about how Kobe also has an X, but his X scar is on his head, like Luffy's on his chest. And so we were talking about how Luffy leads with his heart, so it's over his heart. Which would mean you pointed out that Kobe is leading with his head.
And that his head is in the right place the way Luffy's heart is in the right place. Because X marks the spot, so that's what's right. I like it. I really like it a lot.
I do too. I think it's quite awesome. But I honestly think, regardless of that, that's why you can't just do things with your heart. You can't just do things with your head. The two of them need to meet up and have a conversation. And
I think you're right, and I think they will, but I think he's like, look, if it comes to it, I'll fucking get you. I'll beat your ass.
No, he says, I have to stop your dream from being realized. Right now, he thinks he's the Messiah. He's going to go out and fix everything.
I think Kobe's like, you don't understand, Luffy. I'm one of the strongest people now. Look, I blew up the whatever. And he's gonna be like, I can punch so hard. And then it's gonna be like Marineford all over again, where he's like, I'm strong enough, I can stop Luffy, and Luffy just steps on him, and Luffy's like, cool, that's great. If I was still like pre-Wano Luffy, you would pose such a threat. Anyways, watch me bend the fabric of reality.
Sam, I also saw the video talking about Luffy's dream, because I'm allowed to watch videos now. Have I mentioned I'm allowed to watch videos now?
You are allowed to watch videos now.
I also saw the video talking about how Luffy's true dream is not actually getting into One Piece, and therefore blah blah blah.
I think it's a good video.
It's fine. I don't disagree. I'm just saying it's not enough.
I think Luffy doesn't get the One Piece. I do think that's the case. I think he won't become King of the Pirates, and I think he will get his true dream instead. Now that there is a true dream, it feels like he doesn't actually need King of the Pirates.
Now, apparently there's been a true dream for years.
Yeah.
I don't know. My jury is still out on that one. Even though I liked his video, I thought it was really well done. I could totally see the point that because Luffy's true dream is he wanted to be king of the pirates, and B, he has this hidden dream in behind. I could see Luffy helping somebody else to gain the One Piece. Nobody ever said that Luffy had to gain the One Piece, but I think Luffy has to be involved in it occurring. Otherwise, what the effing hell is the purpose of a Luffy? Like, Luffy is
he's necessary. he's the biggest part of the ending. This is
Exactly.
Pepe Emu.
So
Yeah.
Luffy has to be more involved in it than that says. Like the whole somebody else can just have the One Piece and that will be fine. Bullshit. Luffy has to be involved in the getting of the One Piece or the making it so it's possible, in the planning, in the coming together with Straw Hats so that the One Piece can be taken so that it goes to the right place. Something like this. It's not just going to be Luffy doesn't get the One Piece because that was never his goal. That's a dead stupid ending.
Yeah, no, that doesn't
even
happen.
if he
That's
gets other
nothing.
things.
Yeah.
Add a Bellamy, and that's why I was like,
This isn't the
yeah,
real
I
arc for
agree
the
with
day.
you.
This is just for the new chapter. Okay.
Put a Bellamy in Emu's eye. Is that emu? Or is that a frog?
This is Emu as a frog.
You sure? I don't. Yeah.
You don't know memes enough.
Yeah, of course I don't. Apparently, you had a spaz when I wanted to make an idea about an egg.
Well, no, that's. I can't explain Pepe to you and how he was briefly a white supremacist symbol. It's too much history.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry that I'm brand new and don't know things, and dare to talk about stuff.
Fair.
What an asshole I am, having read this manga that you got me to read
Okay.
all on my own and come to the end and then have you be like, I won't talk about the egg. Well, the egg exists and I've looked at it. Who gives a shit? Everyone talks about the egg.
I think it's fine to talk about the egg. I just think it's one of the things people jump to whenever we get new information. That is all. That is all.
You want to know a secret?
What?
You know what the internet did for me? I didn't
What?
hear a single effing thing you said. It gleeked you out the entire time, and you came back when you said, and that is all.
That's actually very, very funny.
That's so perfect. I'm so happy about that.
Okay.
Okay.
All I was gonna say was, it's not that you can't think about the egg. It's just I want you to be wary that the egg is. I think it's bait. I think it is there to draw you in and make you think about it. That's why it's not brought up or mentioned. That's why we never learn anything about it whenever we get more Roger info. And the impulse is strong to bring all new information back to Egg.
I don't bring all new information back to Egg. I started to think about Egg again because of Egghead Island and how he is
Egg
making
is Ace's older brother.
he's making Egg more interesting and relevant. You know, there's a lot of things we don't talk about that are implicit and threaded throughout the story that I think are going to be quite relevant.
Yeah, I agree. I do think the egg is going to be relevant. I'm on team it's a dragon egg. I know that's the most boring option, but like, I don't know, that's what I feel.
I'm not on that team necessarily.
No,
okay.
You're on team egg is a hockey omelet.
Get a grip.
Come on, that's a funny way to say it, isn't it?
Here's a grip. Get it. Thank you, Cope. Let's go to Buggy. People love Buggy, and that's too bad.
Buggy
But
kind of kicks ass this chapter, honestly.
I can't stop people from loving Buggy. But here's what I did like about this one, where he goes, "The world is mine. You idiots, who said I wanted such a thing? The world is ours, right?" And then they're, "German Buggy! We will follow you into the depths of hell." And then crocodiles, "Sit." "Yes, sir." I do want to see Buggy come out from underneath the thumb of Crocodile. And Mihawk.
Yeah.
And this is a thing that I never thought that I would say. Ugh. Like, I started to wonder it was Crocodile and Mihawk were getting far too much love. And so he needed to put a little shade on them and give Buggy a little more emotional relatability. And he saw how much people like Buggy, and he decided, yeah, you know what? Let's bring Buggy up, because I think that we are going to see some comeuppance for Crocodile and Mihawk now. And I think that Buggy is going to have a redemption moment and is going to be important in the end.
I think what I like about Buggy is that we didn't start to see him become a relatable character we're actually rooting for until we saw that the reason he became so broken was because he loved his friend and wanted his friend to succeed and felt like his friend had abandoned his dreams, whereas probably Shanks just knew something he couldn't tell Buggy.
I agree. But I also think one of the reasons that I find Buggy relatable is I feel like he's always working off the back foot. Just like one of those characters who is it takes steps forward and then just can't ever seem to catch a break. And then watching him catch break after break after break. But also it was kind of a piss off because when Buggy did do well, what does he end up doing? He ends up becoming an asshat. Until Mihawk and Crocodile come there, he was like rolling in his power and just enjoying it in a ridiculous way, kind of lording over all of his awesomeness. So maybe, I know, I'm just hoping a little hubris is going to come into him and make him a balanced person from this.
I
But I
can't
doubt it.
wait. I know One Piece is unpredictable, but at this point, so much is built up that feels like it needs to happen. The tension between Blackbeard and Shanks needs to be resolved. Shanks can't win that fight because you can't have the big bad be beaten by the mentor. That's not how stories work. And Buggy is also gunning for the One Piece, and his motivation is a love of Shanks, which makes me feel like he needs to have conflict with Blackbeard. Like this feels like it has to happen, but I know One Piece is too unpredictable for it. But like, chat, I don't see what the resolution to these threads is. If you don't have Blackbeard and Shanks confront each other, you've wasted all of this time you've spent building up the tension between those two characters.
I didn't feel as much tension as you. Do you know that? I just
No,
don't.
no, the Duck in Space, that's what I'm saying. It's not textbook, so you can't exactly piece it together, but Oda's a good writer. He doesn't waste things. He's not going to have Shanks talk about Blackbeard in 3 different scenes, warning people about how strong he is over and over and over again. Oh, his eyes might be white, yeah. Over and over and over again.
They are
and
white.
then have nothing come of it, you know? He's not going to have that happen. And he's also, because he's a good author, not going to have Shanks go, hey, Luffy, don't worry about the final villain. I took care of him for you. You just get the One Piece and have a nice day. Neither of those can happen because Oda's a good author. Something needs to happen.
I think that you think there's more tension between Shanks and Blackbeard than I feel there is. There is
The
tension. I
first
don't feel it
meeting
in the same
between
way.
emperors is Shanks going out of his way to warn Whitebeard that Blackbeard's a threat. The second thing Shanks does in the series of major import is go and break up the war to stop Blackbeard from causing more trouble. Like,
I agree with all that. I don't think Blackbeard sees it. I think Shanks has an understanding of who Blackbeard and what Blackbeard
yeah,
does. I don't think that Blackbeard has any idea how much Shanks is gunning for him.
I don't think Blackbeard knows at all. No, I agree. I think Blackbeard's like, nah, we're just both emperors.
So
Does
I think
not know.
I think the word tension is the wrong word because we only have it on one side, whereas for me, tension is the pulling between two things, and all we have is one dude pulling on it. So
Yeah,
I think that there is unresolved matter between them that that Blackbeard isn't even aware of. I
yeah.
think he just thinks everything is normal and that Shanks isn't moving around the world watching his ass.
Shanks
But
is
I
an
also
enemy.
think
Yeah, Shanks is a rival.
Shanks is gonna bring some sort of comeuppance on Blackbeard in my world. But one of the reasons that I like that your idea of eventually Buggy meeting up with Blackbeard is I've noticed in a few different chapters now that we have Buggy and then afterwards we go to Blackbeard's crew.
Oh,
And I've noticed that Oda has often puts people like that so that it's almost preparing you for the meeting.
Ross Tiger's pointing out that Shanks went to Wano thinking Blackbeard would be there.
Yep. It's on Shank's side, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, but you're right. Blackbeard has nothing against, like, this is that dude he fought as a kid. Like, that's it. That's all Shanks is to Blackbeard.
Exactly. And Blackbeard is like, I don't even think about Shanks, honestly. Like Shanks isn't even a thing that I'm thinking about right now, other than him being in the same kind of place that I am.
Blackbeard did give Shanks his scar. That's true, but that was just because they fought each other. Like, that was just like they fought. That doesn't. Now, we might think there's more of a connection. We might find out that Blackbeard has some sort of agenda related to Shanks, but I think you're right that we don't know that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I like the theory that the series will end with a massive Davy back fight between the Straw Hats, Red-Haired, Cross Guild, and Blackbeard pirates for the One Piece. Each represents the 4 kinds of piracy the world has established. Buggy's a showman, Blackbeard the cheater, Luffy the ambitious, and Shanks the laid-back player. Sort of. I actually think we see less variety from the current emperors than we saw previously, because the current emperors are all the same type of people who have a core, loyal, small crew, and then a massive fleet of allies that work under them, with the exception being Buggy, who has a really big, powerful crew instead. But 3 out of 4 emperors now have the same crew dynamic of we have a core small group of powerful dudes and then a bunch of underling allies. How confident are you that the pirate Shanks want to discuss with the elders of Blackbeard? I hate to say this, but I think the evil Shanks twin people are right now. After we saw that silhouette of someone, after we saw that silhouette, I think that that was Shanks's evil twin. If it was Shanks, I think he was talking about Blackbeard, and I'm very confident.
Meh. Okay. Get out of the comments. Here we go. Ready?
Okay.
Watching the Iron Giant here get tooled out so that the little snail dies inside of him was absolutely crushing to my soul. But the backstory, like, yeah, there's a lot going on in the backstory and it's exciting. But I think just taking a moment to talk about what we know now about Joy Boy would be worthwhile. Because we don't want to go into this too many's, because we do want to be able to go back in time and talk about this as one of 5.
Yeah.
But oh, hey, I think you should put a knot in front of Emu's face out of context.
Oh, that's actually very funny. That's actually a very good idea.
Yeah. Because when we go ahead and we see Joy Boy talking to our Iron Giant and huffing and hawing there standing in front of him, and he goes, "Remember, Emmett, only when the time is right. Time is right. I've tied a knot of the greatest of hockey and locked it inside of your body." First of all, the greatest of hockey. We don't have any idea what the greatest of hockey means, and I think it means more than just king hockey. I think it means...
Can't be a knot, it has to be the rope because the knot's untied. Yeah. Yeah, is it just the power level, or is it a new type of Conqueror's hockey? And that's the greatest. I started
to wonder, is it a combination of the hockey working together? What is it? The greatest of hockey. Is the greatest of hockey inside the people available to people with the D? Like, I started to wonder, is there a level of hockey or an idea of hockey that we haven't seen yet when he said the greatest of hockey? So I would like to put it out there that I think that there is either a level or a combination of hockey that we haven't seen. I think that should be in the predictions.
Okay.
Because we have to keeping predictions. And then the other thing is we found out all sorts of things about Joy Boy in this moment from watching him. We found out that, nope, definitely not a giant.
No, that's just a guy. That is just and definitely not a buccaneer, because he's just like a skinny dude.
Yep, not a buccaneer because his legs are way too thin.
He seems to be very tall, because Emmett's gigantic, so I think he seems to be like very tall. Yeah,
tall, but not like that tall. Like, if you look at him on the plinth thing, which looks like, for sure, it has a tree on it.
When it comes to precision of size, Oda's not consistent, so we can't really measure.
Yeah, it looks like he's sitting on a block that is a pont glyph.
If it is being consistent, he is buccaneer tall, so maybe there are some buccaneers who are skinny, but like, yeah, we don't know.
Well, he's standing on a pont glyph, in my opinion. There is some sort of tree there, which made me wonder, like, the only problem I had with that's not a tree.
Huh?
Hear me out. I've been thinking that that's a tree.
Okay, let me go to the chapter. Okay, yeah.
But when you pull in, it looks like eyelash, nose, mouth, hair.
Oh, that's a tree.
I don't know. I mean, it looks like a tree, but where's the base? Where's the trunk? Is the tree coming down? Where's the branches? Why does it come in on one side?
No, I think it's just perspective that makes him look like he's the size of Emmett's head. I think he is maybe human height. I think he's just human height, in my opinion.
Oh, no, I don't know about that
look
tree.
Look at the one that's side to side. It does look like he'd be pretty tall standing up.
No, I think that he is... I think he's, like, tall but not crazy. Hey, Fel, thank you for the subscription. I also think that that tree could end up being like a more important tree, one of the trees we know about, like a kind of Zao tree that's got a face on it. And I think we're going to find that there is a tree, some sort of tree of life, tree of thing, tree of something that has a face on it.
Yeah, people are saying things like the hat's way too big for Emmett, the hat's too big for Joy Boy, but I think there's an issue now. I don't really know how tall Emu is, because if Emu is like 11 feet tall, 12 feet tall, then the hat could be big enough for Emmett because it looks giant next to Emu. And if Emu's like a tiny little guy, like we've seen some perspective on how big Emu is, but we're not certain how big Emu is.
Emu has a big tall head thing on too. I don't know, but the hat that Emu carries is way too big to fit on either. Way too big to fit on Joy
We
Boy.
saw
Way too
Emu
small
sit on the throne. That's true, but we don't know exactly how big the throne is.
way too big to fit on Joy Boy. Way too small to fit on Emmett.
Yeah, that's kind of
Anyway,
where we're at with the hat right now.
The hat that Joy Boy is wearing is the hat that Luffy is wearing, and that's what I think helps us know.
Any
the size.
theories about the person with Emu? We've talked a bit about it, and we've noticed that Emu looks like a queen or king chess piece, one or the other, and that they look like a bishop chess piece, this other person, which is interesting. That's all. That's
anyway,
what we have. That's what we know.
Stay inside the chapter, dude. So
that is this chapter.
We haven't got there. I think it's important that you look at the picture in the last one where it says to be continued. To look at the size of them. That the legs on this person is not a buccaneer.
No,
the hands on this person, not a buccaneer.
Hands are not a buccaneer.
Also, there's a hint of perspective because this is the straw hat that Luffy is wearing, according to the size of the giant straw hat, which it couldn't be, which says that the body of this person is no bigger than like a Shanks level.
I don't think the Gorosei can really slot into chess pieces, no. He did have tiny legs. Yeah, I also noticed her go, we haven't gotten there yet. Anyways, let's talk about the last page.
Mine is we haven't gotten there yet. Let's stick with the thing we were talking about to finish it before we move off.
I think we can't really know much. All this confirms is that big straw hat may not be Joyceif Boy's hat.
I also think we're going to find out something about that tree that's standing behind him. Like, what was the tree called at Ohara? Was that Tree of Life?
Yeah, that was the knowledge tree, the tree, the thinking
knowledge
tree. The tree of knowledge. Yeah.
Tree of knowledge?
At least one person noticed me say Joyceif Boy. I was hoping someone would like that.
And then what was the tree called?
Wait. No, that's so much better. Joyceif Boyega's way better. Come on, can we give props to chat for Joyceif Boyega?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
And then what was the tree called inside of Zao?
I don't think that one had a name, not that I remember. Whale tree? Is it the whale tree? Is it the tree that's a whale?
Yeah, what was its thing? So we have a tree of life, or a tree of knowledge, and then
the sun tree, whale tree.
Okay, I'm just gonna see whether or not they're connected later, keeping it in mind. Okay, we can go back into Emo's world.
Okay.
Dude is in there with Emu, who does look like a chess piece, and then so does
like
Emu. Emu looks, if you look in there, a lot shorter because when they're on the ground, you can totally tell how much of their height is their head, and their hat, and they do look diminutive in that one. Oh God, I love them freaking out. And I just can't even believe how what level of hockey do we have to have in order to send all except Saturn back? That's
the issue is, as long as one of them's there, can't he summon the rest back?
Can he? If you've been pushed away and brought back, do they have unlimited power? Can they use them over and over?
I don't know.
And when it's untied and everyone just faints immediately, even if he brings them back and everyone is fainted, and I don't know.
Smokey D. Cannabis, I've seen this misconception. It was Blackbeard he wanted to report to because Caribou never said, oh, I have a deal of employment with someone who I think will want to know this, and I need to go back to get the pay because I'm an informant. He said, oh, a certain someone would be really interested in this information. And then the second he sees Katarina Devon, Caribou hops out and goes, hey, I've got information for Teach. So it was Teach he was talking about. People were just misinformed or made the wrong assumption and thought he was already working for Blackbeard when he just thought the information would help him have an in with Blackbeard. Like, because he never said, my employer would like to know this. He said, oh, I know I know someone who'd like this information. And then he immediately is like, hey, Katarina Devon, I've got information for Teach.
I can't get into anything with Caribou. Like, pop off and do your thing, but I just hate him.
I think it's funny that he's evil Barto.
I do think that's funny. I think, honestly, Caribou is the fanboy that Blackbeard deserves.
Look, if he's just an opportunist and he doesn't care about Teach, I'll stand corrected. But he jumped out of hiding immediately, was like, oh, I'm such a big fan. I don't know. I'm feeling it.
I like that we kind of find out that they weren't able to make Joy Boy king.
Yeah. Did he want to be king of the world? Was that what he wanted?
And when we talk about king, and then right away, right after the pages, or just after those pages, we see two things that look like chess pieces. I also think that's fascinating.
Oh.
So, because it's, I'm sorry, Joy Boy, and then ... make you king. And then Luffy goes, king? And then it goes, right from that conversation, we go into the chess pieces afterwards. I also think this is super relevant because he goes, I'm Monkey D. Luffy, the man who will be king of the pirates. And then Emmett goes, D. And immediately after, upon hearing that, we see that inside of his body, he chooses to undo the knot.
I do like that. I stand by that D is the descendants of Joy Boy's crew, and that's why.
Maybe. Maybe. I'm schmaybeing on that one. And then I love his don't die today, okay? And then I won't let you. Ugh. This is such a powerful piece. And we're going to, if we spent more time in there, which we will on our 5-page day, we're going to find that there's a bunch of shit going on in there. Oh, Emmett, you and your little face with your batting eyes. Oh. And the I hope I don't get lonely is so. If you want to talk about somebody who's had to wait, he's had to wait 800 years, other than 200 years ago, where there was just a little kind of blip in his timeline,
where he just got to wake up for a bit, stretch his legs out.
Yeah. Because if you want to talk about lonely, if you think about Brooke's timeline, what about frickin' Emmett? Like,
Emmett's had a rough.
Emmett has had a hard time, and he's just been dragged around to locations. And come on, Emmett with the X on his arm?
I didn't notice Emmett having an X on his arm.
Last page.
You're right. right on the spot.
Yes, right on the spot.
Oh my god. How did I not notice it?
It's wild. Emmett with the X on his arm.
Holy shit. Holy fuck.
Yeah.
What does it mean? What does it mean?
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm like, what is this?
I'm so uncomfortable today because I accidentally ripped apart my drawing callus on a piece of jagged metal.
Ooh, good.
Yeah, so the part of my skin that's normally very tough and resilient to help me draw for long periods of time is raw, open flesh.
Ew. And it does. Angle is right. Angle is right. It looks like Emmett has an X on each arm.
Right.
You can see it if you go into it. You can see the corner of the X. So there's something so big there. And when your life is in danger or someone else is in danger whom you want to protect, that's when the time is right. Time is such a major factor in this story. Go ahead and untie that knot when the
Guys, I
time
think
is
this
right.
is the funniest art I've ever done, actually.
Okay. Oh, man. That's right. I'll save you all the way from the past, just like I always do, don't I? All right. When we do the 5 chapters, that's going to be a wild thing to go into. Okay, let's go into our second part. I'm super pumped about our second part.
Okay, today's video is brought to you by the guy in the, I wrote his name in the thing. You can see it.
Are you kidding me right now?
Zahir is by Zahir. Oh, by the way, nobody buy stuff for the boy. I'm gonna add the Bellamy to this next picture we're doing because there's nowhere to really add anything in this one. So the Bellamy will be added, just not to this. Okay, everybody, let's go. This is by Zahir. You can see in the description. That's where Mama got the idea. Do you want to summarize what we're doing now? You want to get into it?
I want to get into it.
Get into it.
So as you all know, that I get to go off into the interwebs of joy now, which is kind of my greatest fun. And there was a dude who did how many of you saw it? The relationships with the Straw Hats piece that he did, where he talked about. I'm just going over to here, and it's called Straw Hat Dynamics, the Zahir video, and it was super fun. And I was thinking about how I agreed with him on lots of the pieces, but I completely disagreed with him on others. And I loved that because I love the way that he saw One Piece in comparison to me. It just made me think about, like, the way I think about the relationships between the different Straw Hats is often different than he did. So what he did is he took the Straw Hats and he actually made it as a tier, which was interesting. We're going to do it as a conversation. And I loved the S tier dynamic that he did for it because he was able to kind of articulate where he saw it. And I think we might rate it. I don't know if we'll put it on a tier necessarily, except for one of our editors might choose to put it in a tier.
One of our editors can put it on a tier list as they're going, yeah.
As I've met them and they're good at crap like that, and that's what makes them awesome. Because I was thinking, like, he hit on a ton of the dynamics, but he saw the relationships so much more interestingly than I saw them, so different. And I thought, how many of us have that same kind of feeling? Like, we see the relationships between the different Straw Hats so differently. So we are going to be rating and looking at all the relationships between the different Straw Hats. And I think that we should take it kind of by, like, maybe picking a Straw Hat first and going through their relationship with each.
That's how you do. That's how you do this stuff, yeah. So I think we start with, I think we just start with Luffy and talk about Luffy's relationship with each of them. And I think let's treat it with an order so that it's easy to get through and make sure we don't miss anything. So we'll go in order.
I already have an order.
We'll go in order of joining, I think, is the way to do it, huh?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
So the order the Straw Hats joined. So first, Luffy and Zoro. We're starting off strong.
Okay, what would you rate this relationship?
This is one of the best in the series. It is not my very favorite. It is very, very highly ranked for me. Okay. Let's say we're ranking on a curve here. And if this were compared to most series, a lot of these would be S tier, but for it to be a useful chart, for it to be useful in any way, we need to be ranking on a curve. On the curve of the Straw Hats, I still give this an A. It's not quite an S for me, but it is an A tier.
Interesting. What do you have as your evidence for just an A tier?
My evidence for A tier is A tier. The way I'm going to treat this is for me, you can do it your way. For me, A tier is like perfect, and S tier goes above and beyond and has a special thing, a special layer that makes me cry to think about. And I think, to me, there is one S tier that I am going to get to.
Okay.
I think S is possible because of Wano. I agree with someone on that.
I think Luffy and I used to think of Luffy and Zoro's relationship as an A tier relationship. You have like you have so much trust and loyalty between them, and Zoro chose to completely change the person that he was, from being a person who was hunting from pirates to being a person who was a pirate because of Luffy. Luffy completely changed the trajectory of Zoro's life. Luffy had an idea of who he wanted to be, and Zoro had an idea of who he wanted to be, and Zoro was the one who changed and found something within Luffy, a love, a friendship, a peace inside of him that called to him. And I really felt like when I saw him and Wano wandering around, and I understood just how much Rayleigh and Joy Boy are Luffy and Zoro, it kind of changed my perspective of it. And I started to go back through and think about like the willingness of Zoro to sacrifice himself for Luffy and Thriller Bark.
Fuck
That
it, no. This I'm gonna. There's two S tiers. I can't. I'm listening.
the
The reason I've
Baratie.
started the reason I've started to change this is because Zoro would never have accomplished his dream. I don't think he had it in him
No,
by nature.
no,
To he's not like Mihawk. He needed something more, and for that, it is the fact that he is carrying not just his own drive, but the drive of his captain now.
yeah.
That
Also
is
for
making
me,
Zoro who he is. I'm gonna upgrade it to an S tier.
Also for me, when Luffy decides to go against the entire world government to rescue Robin, Zoro was the one who, without any kind of hesitation, without any wavering, nothing, is just like, yeah, absolutely. If the captain wants this, it'll happen. Zoro is the one who so believes in Luffy's plan and so believes in who Luffy is and so believes him more than anyone else, so believes in him so quickly that he's like, you are not letting Usopp back on this boat.
Mm-hmm.
Until he says sorry to you, he does not come back on this boat. You need to be the captain that we believe in. Zoro sees Luffy as a captain more than Luffy saw himself as a captain.
Yeah.
And so for me, Zoro and Luffy are S tier, but here's the issue is
Uh-huh.
that I think that Luffy loves Zoro unwaveringly, but
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's different. I think that Zoro has a deeper love for Luffy than Luffy has for Zoro.
I think that's true because to Luffy, he loves all of his friends equally, whereas to Zoro, this is the most important person in his world.
Yep.
He has sworn himself to do everything he can. Like, I've seen people say that it's honor, that he sees his job as serving the captain. He's his right-hand man. It's more than that now. Zoro's
Yeah.
dream is more than becoming the world's greatest swordsman, for Luffy to be king of the pirates. You saw him dig deep to beat King, and what was he talking about? It wasn't, I will be the greatest. It was, my captain will be king.
Exactly.
Like I've seen a lot of reading, and from people who I really like the opinions of, where Thriller Bark, him sacrificing himself was, that's my duty and my responsibility, but it's so much more than that. It's because, it is just more his dream to see Luffy succeed than to achieve his own dream now.
And they often are also the ones who go off together originally because they match each other's bravery.
Yeah.
And so I think that if Luffy took a pause and sat down for a moment and lost his whole crew, he would understand just how much he would have lost in Zoro, and how Zoro is that second half of him. He just doesn't say it.
Yeah.
So S tier for me.
Should we move on to Luffy and Nami?
Yeah.
Okay, let's
Okay,
take
what do
turns
you
going
think?
first. What do you think? What the Luffy ones are going to be hard because these ones are going to be all near. I think B is the lowest we're going to get from any of the Luffy ones, right? You know what? I can think of one I'm giving a C to, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
I look forward to that. Okay, you know what's really interesting about Luffy and Nami is Luffy, when I think about how hard he fought for anyone to join his crew, he fought the hardest for Nami.
Interesting.
He fought hard for Robin and they hunted her down to Ennie's lobby, etc., but that was different. That was Robin had been on his crew, he already thought Robin was a member of his crew, and now one of his people who was already a member was taken away. That's different. He fought the hardest for Nami to become a member of his crew. Nami was like, go to hell, burn in hell, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to do this. And he was like, yeah, you are. You will be a member of my crew. And then Zoro and Usopp are like, it's not even a possibility. Like, go get a life. This is never going to happen. And Luffy is like, no, she is a member of my crew. And so, and And what does he do when he goes off to fight for her after she asks for help? He puts the one thing with the most meaning, his treasure, on top of her head and has her hold it while he goes off.
Mhm.
And I thought to myself, like, for me, that moment, he immediately had a connection with Nami that he couldn't even explain. It was a person
Yep.
that his heart and her heart were
And
attached
I
immediately.
explain why I want to do A instead of S.
Go ahead.
There is a level to me that, as much as there is love there, I think Nami still has an amount of not quite jiving with or getting Luffy in a way that I don't see in a that I don't see in the Straw Hats, that the two that I will consider an S now, where it's just like, you know, being frustrated with him, trying to talk him out of going to the dangerous path or trick him away from it. Like, I get that that's a lot of survival at this point, but to me there is just a little bit less than I think A tier is perfect to me and S tier is above and beyond, and it is only in realizing to me that Zoro's dream has fundamentally been changed by Luffy that I go S tier, which is why I'm going A. I just don't think it crosses the S tier threshold.
Okay.
I want
So,
S to feel as special as possible.
do you remember how I keep trying to figure out, like, what it is about Nami that I love so much, and how people are like, "You're always knocking Nami down, poor Nami."
Yep.
To be fair to them, to be fair, I am, but I keep trying to figure out what it is about Nami that was so important to me, and I realized it's how much Luffy defers to Nami.
Mm.
That Nami is the person the most who Luffy defers to. She says, "No, we're going to do this thing. This is why we need to do this thing." So for instance, like um anything from like, "Oh, we're going to be navigating through these dangerous areas." Nami says, "This is how we're going to do it. Then this is how we're going to do it."
Yep, that's true.
Um Ennie's lobby, um with all of the emotional confrontations, he when he decides to declare war on the government, Nami's emotional strength and belief in his leadership is the thing that makes it so that he's like, "Yes, we can rescue Robin, and this is worth doing." I started to think about when Nami fell ill, that Luffy walked through the snow, foregone everything else, just trying to get Nami to safety and get her well again. And then I just like, in Whole Cake, he completely relied on her guidance to navigate all the situations. She creates battle plans, and he's like, "Yeah, absolutely, 100%. We're going to go with Nami's plan." Well, I'm going to F off and do whatever the hell I want, but everyone else should go with Nami's plan. And so this one is a hard for me because I don't want to be like, "Oh, yeah, everyone is an S tier with Luffy." But I feel like, unlike with Zoro and Luffy, where Luffy doesn't understand how much he loves Zoro, I feel like Nami doesn't understand how much she loves Luffy.
I could see that as true. That to me, it might be part of why it feels more A than S to me, is like there's a bit of like unacknowledged of lack of acknowledgement of it in them.
I think disagreeing, Donnie, is okay. Like, I think it's okay that you disagree with someone. That's something that my husband and I always say. Like, just because you love someone
Mm.
with your whole heart doesn't mean you have to agree with them all the time. In fact, you need a person who pushes against you. I'm doing S tier and I don't give a shit.
All right, Snanji. I'm just gonna do
You know,
A. I'm
you know,
being hesitant with my wait. I could be less hesitant with my S if I do an S plus rank. If S plus is on the table.
S plus is on the table.
If S plus is on the table, then I am going to go back on what I've said and make Sanji and Nami both S, and Zoro will be S plus.
I agree.
It'll be one of my two S pluses, I think. Let's add S plus.
I don't. Yeah, I
You
agree.
missed Usopp. You're right. Usopp.
Usopp's a hard one for me.
Usopp and Luffy, I see as a. Oh, this is tough. This is tough. Ooh.
Yes. Because you want to know what makes it the most difficult is Water 7. Because Luffy and Sanji actually got to fight each other. Luffy, and Usopp. Luffy actually got to see for the first time how much attention Usopp pays to him and knows who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And Usopp nearly had a win over Luffy because of how much he knows who he is. And now they have a very different relationship with each other. You know when you fight with somebody, but you come out the other side and you actually cleaned all that shit off?
Yeah.
And now you look at each other and you see all your weaknesses and you see the shit that bothers you, but you have a different level of respect for that person.
Someone's like, they are the definition of best friends is right. Like, they are best friends in a way most of the Straw Hats aren't. Like, all of them love each other, they're family, but they are friends in a meaningful way.
So when we talk about how in all the other relationships, I feel that there isn't equity in who loves who more, I think there is in Usopp and Luffy.
Yeah. Are we just gonna fill the S tier with the Luffy relationships?
No, I have one that I don't think is S tier at all.
Yeah, I've got a couple. I
got one that I think is B.
I have one that I think is B as well, and I think we're gonna disagree on which one that is.
Damn, I'm excited. I'm S+ing Luffy and Usopp the end.
Okay, I'm giving S. My S+ is being saved.
I gave an S+ to Zoro. I'm giving an S+ to this one, and I think I'm right. I think they both have such an important
I've seen your
relationship.
comment, but I don't think that's necessarily true, because I think, like, you can join someone's crew without having a perfectly written relationship. Like, because we're reviewing this as how it's written more than like in universe that's what's up. So like it doesn't make sense to just be like all the Luffy ones have to be S tier, because otherwise why would they have joined? Because, you know, writers aren't perfect and some of them won't feel compelling, even though in theory you could say that as a reason they should all be S, if that makes sense. Anyways, moving on now to Sanji for reals. Yeah, I'm just gonna do basic S, not an S+, but yeah. What do you think?
Are we doing Sanji?
Snanji. Luffy Sanji.
He loves, up until Whole Cake, I would have given that an A.
I feel the same way. I think Whole Cake's the only reason to me it's an S instead of an A.
Yeah, we got to see their relationship take a big change, and I think they became, I think they both realized their mutual admiration fan club for each other.
Yeah, it's a revitalizing thing, and Sanji, I think, was the real issue with it was that Sanji didn't value himself enough to be a good friend. Here's a tip for you out there. Here's a tip for a lot of people that you need to hear. You aren't being selfless by devaluing yourself in your friendships. You are being selfish. Your friends want to love you, and you are hurting them by treating yourself as unimportant and not valuing your own happiness and asking for help, comfort, for exposing your vulnerability. You are being a bad friend by disliking yourself. You don't want to hear that if you are disliking yourself, because it'll be more to feel guilty about, but this is why you need to improve. Sanji's relationship with Luffy could not be S tier until Sanji learned to love himself and accept himself. That is reality.
What's holding me back from an S+ with them, even though I think Sanji would see his relationship as an S+ with Luffy, I do. I don't think that they have that symbiotic relationship that he has with a lot of other people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they have this deep, deep love. S is above everything, but S+ it's a different thing. S+ is a different thing.
S+ needs the je ne sais quoi, you know? There needs to be an extra kick.
Let's do the Chopper, because
the Chop Man.
I got some feelings on that one.
B tier. This is my B tier.
That's your B tier?
My B tier is Chop Man. You say your piece. You say your piece.
Oh. Okay, well, I think that Chopper had never been able to accept himself until Luffy came along.
Yep.
That he had been trying to be something great, but then Chopper believed in that immediately, Drawk. From the second they met in Drum Island, Chopper was like, you think I'm amazing? You see me as this? First of all, I'll shut up, don't tell me, but keep telling me. And second of all, now I believe you. I'm going to see myself through your eyes, and I'm going to have full faith in you. And Chopper gets like starry-eyed greatness out of Luffy and just thinks that Luffy is one of the greatest things that ever was.
And I think
And
that's part of why it doesn't work for me as much, is how immediate and complete it feels.
no, because then Luffy learns to respect him so much more. So when we go to Eni's lobby and Luffy sees Chopper as being a doctor and a fighter, and when Chopper goes into his animal form and everyone else is like, "Dear God," Luffy is like, "That's cool. That is so cool." And then also sees him as being the intelligent doctor. So it's like, what would have been like for Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde if he had found somebody like the Chopper-esque thing, if he had found a Luffy who could have been like, both your sides are amazing, right? And so for me, I think that Chopper is invaluable on his team. Chopper actually is a way greater fighter than we give him credit for, but
Yeah.
on the same time, he does things like find cures for viruses. And I think that Luffy, more than anyone, appreciates that Chopper is brawn and brain together.
Can I say why, more than anything, I'm putting this one in B?
Okay.
I think post time skip, Chopper hasn't gotten enough attention, and that's whatever, and that's why he's probably my least favorite Straw Hat. But I think the bigger thing that's happened post time skip is every other Straw Hat, we still see Luffy interact with them in ways that are deeply meaningful to their character and their relationship. And I can't think of recent examples of the two of them interacting that feel meaningful.
Well, Punk Hazard, when Luffy is encouraging Chopper to be brave when he's in the middle of all his fears on their adventure.
That's
and
something.
he's like has utter confidence in Chopper and is like, "You can absolutely do this. I believe in you. You've got the courage to do this and to protect our friends." Fishman Island, when Luffy is like, "Your medical skills are the thing that's going to keep Sanji alive, and I have faith in you, and I know you're going to figure this out."
Now say a chapter that came out within the last decade.
Whole Cake.
Did it? I don't remember one in Whole Cake.
What? In Whole Cake, when Chopper is in massive danger and Luffy is super determined to rescue him and showing his protectiveness over him.
It's just none of it's doing it for me in the same way, I feel. Like
Wano?
What did Chopper do in Wano? I mean, Chopper made the medicine and that was amazing, but that felt like a cool moment for Chopper. I really do like it more than anything that had to do with Luffy.
When Chopper was dealing with the aftermath after the fighting from the plague bullets, and then Luffy went in to talk to him, and it kind of like highlighted the emotional bond.
That was cute, yeah.
When Luffy encouraged Chopper to stay focused in his abilities, and he was like, "You're super brilliant, like, don't give up on yourself. If it wasn't for you helping all these people after this fight, what would have mattered? We would have lost so many people." Like, Chopper...
Right. You've talked me up to an A. I will give Chops an A.
A. I'm an A as well.
You've talked me up to an A. I'm not feeling S here, but this is not a B. So now here's where I think I'm gonna lose some people for sure. Nico Robin is my other S+.
Really?
Can I explain why?
Yeah.
I think Nico Robin understands and appreciates Luffy in a way that no other crewmate does.
Okay. Talk me through.
How does everyone react when Luffy does something dumb? Shock, disgust, despair, cockiness.
Roll their eyes.
Robin smiles and says, "That's Luffy." What do the other crewmates do when Luffy doesn't know who they're talking about because he doesn't remember people's names? They get frustrated. Yeah. They try to figure out how to explain it to him. They talk about why that person's important. Robin calls Marco Pineapple and knows that immediately Luffy will know who she's talking about. There is no character who in every brief glimpse shows a deeper understanding and appreciation for Luffy as he is than Nico Robin. I don't like, it is perfect writing to me. No author to me has written what it is for someone to be seen as much as Nico Robin sees Luffy. Their relationship is one of perfect, like, despite being opposite characters on the crew, they are perfectly complementary. They understand each other's needs and appreciate each other so deeply. Luffy is always ready to back up Robin with whatever she needs, has given her the confidence and safety to be herself. Obviously, Enies Lobby and everything, but just post time skip, we now see what that has led to. And it is like, there is no Straw Hat who appreciates and understands Luffy more than Nico Robin.
I totally agree with it. You know what my problem with Luffy and Nico is?
What's that?
They did so much stunning work with this relationship in early days.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that Oda would just got complacent with their relationship
But
and was like, we did this work.
But as far as the big things, yes, but look at all the small interactions. Like for me, this is one that I always see in the background. Robin's the one gently correcting him. Robin's the one who knows how to speak to him and inform him of what's going on. Robin's the one who encourages him to be who he is. And Robin now has changed fundamentally as a person in the confidence she has because of Luffy in ways that harken back to it. I think we don't see enough of it the other way anymore, where we don't see Luffy doing things for Robin. But I think that's because, to me, what Robin needs is for this person to be there, making the world safe for her to be Robin.
For me, their relationship right now is an it's hard. I'm an S on them.
I'm S plus for days. It is my favorite dynamic.
I love their relationship. My very favorite part of it is when she said Luffy is a romantic. I thought that was one of the most beautiful things, that when you looked at her and you were like, she gets Luffy. She understands Luffy. Even though she understands Luffy, and Luffy understands that she needs to feel loved and useful and not like a monster, and that she doesn't feel like a monster because the whole crew is in turn their own type of monster. I don't feel like that's leaning in enough on the relationship, but I can see why you would say S plus.
I don't think there is another crewmate who understands Luffy as deeply, and that's so valuable for me. Like, that's something that I see, like, leaning into something. One of my favorite things in my life about my wife is that whenever I want to do something silly or reckless, she fully supports me and just talks, like, make sure that I'm being safe, like I'm being as careful as I can be while doing something. So for me, someone seeing what you need, even if what you need is something that other people might be like, hey, don't do that, is something I appreciate more than most people. So that might be why, but to me, that's so valuable of someone who, like, truly understands someone enough to be like, yeah, it's okay for you to be a bit dumb. Are you doing it in a way that you got this?
Yeah, no, and I would agree. I would agree that I would be S plus verging on this relationship.
That's fair.
But it's an S for me, but an S is beyond perfect. It's just that it's an S.
Oh yeah,
for me.
S plus for us is like, hey, this is so unbelievably good.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to our next one.
Okay.
Brooke. Brooke. Hey, give me your Brooke feelings.
Oh, Frankie. We skipped Frankie.
First. We're Frankie first. Frankie.
I really love this relationship. I think it's a weird one because if I was going on deep emotional stuff, it would be an A. But I think part of that's because Frankie is one of the most static characters in One Piece, not in a negative way, just in a he's so self-assured and his entire journey is just about becoming more who he is.
Okay, I would have seen in the beginning when Luffy and Frankie are just starting out, and Frankie is he's already got his own life. He is the leader of a crew, and like recognizes like Luffy looks at him and his leadership abilities, and he's also outside of the regular world. Like, Luffy is a pirate, and Frankie isn't just in the boat area. He's kind of like the bad guy, and they start off on the wrong foot, which I love. And then their friendship grows in there, and he watches Frankie become this different cool ass kind of guy, and Luffy is in love with every goddamn thing that Frankie does mechanically, and I think that that's so fun. But I think for me, things got really, really cool in Dressrosa.
That's what I was gonna say. I think so
when
much of this would be A or B tier. Dressrosa,
yeah,
let's get into it. That's where it becomes S for me.
yeah. So because Dressrosa is where Luffy is reminded in Frankie's leadership abilities and is forced to reconcile with the fact that Frankie is an intelligent, thoughtful person who knows how to strategize and has his own needs. And when he says to Luffy, "I need to do this," Luffy goes, "Okay." No questions, no nothing, 100% trust. And when we see that juxtaposed against the way that Flamingo Face is doing shit in comparison, and when we see it then juxtaposed against the way Blackbeard did the same thing with his crew and just said, like, yeah, go where you need to go, pop off. I just realized like what a special, intense relationship they had, but more importantly, how Luffy recognizes Frankie as a leader, and then Frankie equally recognizes that even though I am a leader and I'm the type of person who likes to be in charge, I every day suppress and put that aside because of my belief in you.
Yeah. But, and then how he is able to take charge when part of something. And when he's like, hey, I need to help these little people. And Luffy's like, if you weren't the type of person who didn't do what you thought was right, I wouldn't want you on my crew anyways. Like the faith of being like, hey, it's a trap. Frankie's like, if this is the trap. And Luffy's like, yep. And Frankie's like, you gonna do it? And Luffy's like, you want Ace's fruit? And Frankie's like, I like to swim. Go get him. I'll take care of everything. It's so good.
Exactly.
Oh, it's so fucking... Oh, also, you are exactly right. Expletive, Frankie is positive masculinity completely. Like, that is Frankie. He is positive masculinity, the character. And seeing that interact with a little gremlin goofball is so endearing.
Yeah, and I also like that Wano was like Frankie doing this, Frankie doing this, Frankie doing this. It was
Frankie
like
was filling a very Brooke-like role of being a support player.
but he was also Frankie was doing things
here,
like
you're right.
fixing up all the boats so that they be able to do them. And Luffy never said to himself like, "Oh, that's a lot of work," and when blah blah blah. No, he was just like, "Oh, Frankie's on that. That shit's taken care of." And then he's the one always running into combat against Ogashima and all the different people. And Luffy is just like, "I've got to go and do this, and I trust that Frankie has this." And the other thing that I think is really important, which makes me appreciate Luffy and Chopper's role, is that Luffy loves that when Chopper is in his brain mode, Frankie is his brawn.
Yep.
And I think that's a really important thing that I don't always think about that dynamic, but I realized when I was watching, whenever Chopper is riding inside of one of Frankie's different amazing little machines or doing anything, or Frankie is bringing him there, or he's protecting them, I think that it's incredible that Luffy kind of sees that as a like, oh, thank God Frankie's on this while Chopper is able to take care of his brain needs and his medicine needs.
Can I also say something? You bring up the brain and Frankie being brawn. It's something I love about One Piece, how much specialization and fighting skill matter more than just power level. That like, if One Piece was like Dragon Ball, where how strong you are determines who wins a fight, I genuinely think if you were judging strength just based off of who could lift the biggest weight, Frankie is the strongest Straw Hat, other than maybe Jinbei. Like, and yet Frankie's like middle of the pack for combat power.
Yeah, and Expletive is right. It's not that Frankie isn't brain. It's just that Frankie...
I think Zoro hits harder. I think Frankie could lift more. He is a giant robot. Especially General Frankie mode.
Okay.
I think if you look at Frankie and don't think he could lift a house, you're insane.
So no that is why
lift the house.
After Dressrosa is when I moved Frankie into an S.
I agree. I think it's an A or a B until then, and Dressrosa shows so much of how Frankie and Luffy see each other.
And I'm looking for those moments in a couple of other relationships. Like I really am. I think we need to have those Frankie kind of moments. But that was gold for me. Dressrosa was really where Frankie shone in a great way. Okay, Brooke.
So this is your B tier, huh?
Nope.
Oh, okay. You seemed hesitant to go to this one.
No. No.
Brooke to me is a solid A. Like,
yeah.
Like it's not verging on B. It's not verging on S. It is a solid A.
It's just is all cricket. That's my hesitance here. So that's the only reason reason that I have any hesitance is just cricket, because in my opinion, this is a solid A. Luffy has like massive admiration for him. He does so much for the team. He does in the navigation and the battlefield protection of allies. He's one of the bravest people. His sword work is incredible.
Can I just say, one of the biggest downsides of this relationship is that everything you just said is true, and Luffy, I don't think, acknowledges it enough, it feels like.
But that's what I was going to say, is that what Luffy ends up doing, instead of acknowledging all these, the way that he disguises himself, he manages to get 2 damn poneglyphs, all these different things. But Luffy just gets caught up in the fact that he sings music, which was something that Luffy really wanted to have, and that he's one of the coolest things ever. Like, Luffy got his musician as a skeleton, and Luffy just loves him as a damn comic and a musician. And so even though Luffy knows that he's capable of all these other things, Luffy gets stuck in him being a wicked ass skeleton comic musician. Yeah, and I think that's why it's okay.
Someone pointed out that there's little back and forth, which I think is so weird, because Brook has great rapport and back and forth with most of the crew.
Like, the other crew,
Brook has amazing banter with most of the crew, and you never see Luffy and Brook banter. And I think that's because they're both goofballs, and it's hard to write comedy without a straight man.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same reason. What banter do you see between Brook and Frankie, really? Because, like, the 2 screwballs, it's hard to write banter.
Yeah. So I think a lot of the other crew understand how powerful Brook is and what an asset he is in fighting skills and other things, but I think that Luffy gets caught up in him being a wicked skeleton.
Like, it's still an A tier, but, like, it's just, you know, for Luffy, that's low. After Brook, we have Jinbei.
Yep.
You say that with a tone.
What tone?
This to me is a solid A. I'm curious where you're at. I will explain my reasoning if need be. I have considered S and B for different reasons, and that makes me think A. We did Robin. Robin, I was my S+.
I'm a B.
I want you to explain yourself before I am upset.
Okay. So, and I want you to know that here's what I know.
People saying it's a big crime, mama.
Okay, so Jinbei and Luffy have a very cool relationship. I just don't think that it's been, hey dancing, I just don't think that we've had it long enough. And so even though we've been hanging out with Jinbei for a while, I don't think that we've hung out long enough for me to say that their relationship has had the depth of time to become an S tier relationship. Also, Luffy is in love with Jinbei in a way that and admires Jinbei in a way that he doesn't admire all the other crew. Whereas Jinbei understands more who Luffy is and has made a decision to follow him and the Straw Hats because he knows from past experience where they're going and why it's going to be important for him to be there. I think this is going to end up being one of my very favorite relationships, but Jinbei shows up at the end of frickin' Whole Cake and he helps them leave there. And that was amazing. But he isn't in the whole of Whole Cake. He just isn't. But he's in
Fishman
Wano
Island and Impel Down.
He in Fishman in Impel Down, he is not mostly with Luffy. He's mostly with Ace, and we can't use his relationship.
However, with Impel Down, we still see. I think there's something beautiful with Impel Down and Marineford, which is Ace being like, "You need to take care of my brother," and Jinbei being like, "Fuck you, I'm not that kind of man. I will never respect someone just for being related to someone I love. He needs to earn it." He meets Luffy, and within 3 seconds is like, "I will die for this man."
Agreed, but this is what I'm trying to say is I think that this is going to be one of my favorite relationships in the story eventually
Okay.
at the end, but I think right now that they're still in a honeymoon phase. It's way too easy to have the good deep
All right.
friendship in the first arc. I think that I'm not going to put his relationship and his time with Ace into their relationship. I think that in Whole Cake Island he just shows up at the end. So really, where have we seen Jinbei where he's full crew member? Um, how much time? Like, what does he do in Dressrosa?
Um, you know, fair. Yeah, I mean, he was just wait. He was on his way.
Uh-huh.
All right, we need to give it more
And
time.
so I'm like, for me, really, where the only place we've seen him be a full freaking crew member is Wano. So I'm just not ready to jump in Jinbei S tier for that. That's a B tier for me. I think it'll end up being one of my favorites, but for me,
All right.
that's a B tier.
Now, can I briefly say, I was going to say, hey, what if at the end we lightning round with Luffy the honorary Straw Hats of Vivi, Yamato, and Mr. Two, Mr. Two Bankurai. I kind of feel like they're all just S for different reasons, though. Like
They're all
they,
S's for different reasons. Although, you know what I would say? I would no.
yeah.
Number two is an S plus. If those two could hang out together all the time, they would be such best friends that it would just fuck up the entire Straw Hat dynamics because the two of them would be sitting in the corner with their heads together and
Fair
jumping
enough.
off of things and being doofuses.
I think a lot of the temporary
Like,
Straw Hats only have a powerful relationship with Luffy, is why I don't want them to be in the chart in general.
Yeah, I think that honestly, Bon Clay and Luffy are an S plus relationship. They're star-crossed lovers who don't get to hang out. They're the kind of friends that would hold hands and braid each other's hair.
Can I
Like
tell
that.
you?
That's a big one.
Can I tell you? I love Mr. Two. I genuinely teared up the slightest bit when Yamato didn't join the crew.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
I thought I couldn't have been happier when they didn't join the crew. And
monster.
my reason for that is I felt like it was going to be bullshit to have somebody who had such high dreams and such needs to be this other person. And I was like, until Yamato finds the part of himself that's himself and not just Oda, you aren't ready to come on crew.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I wanted him to join. All right, let's move on. You know what I just realized? The honorary Straw Hats is one woman and two genderqueer people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I just realized? I have a phone and I can make your dad bring me Hawkins cheesies.
Oh, fuck yeah. Hey, if you're Canadian, you know Hawkins cheesies are the best cheesies. All right, guys. All right, let's move on to the Nami relationships. The first one is Nami and Zoro. Zoro relationship, sorry, which is also Zoro Nami first. Zoro and Nami is a weird one, huh?
Oh my god, are these people asking what a cheesy is before we talk?
You do you know Cheetos, but they're hard crunch. You don't have Hawkins in Ontario. You need to get them if they should be in Ontario. Go buy Hawkins cheesies. They're so good. You might have just had cheesies and not realized they were Hawkins. They have a red and white striped container. Like a bag, red and white striped bag. Okay.
Who are we doing first?
We're doing Zoro relationships, and the first one would be Zoro and Nami. This is a weird one because it starts off more contentious than most of them. I think there is only one relationship on this chart with a similar level of antagonism. Actually, more antagonism, but it's one-sided. We'll get there way later, though.
Zoro and Nami. Ugh. You know, in a way, Luffy is the easiest for sure.
Yeah. Zoro and Nami. Zoro feels like Nami sees Zoro as an obstacle sometimes, but also relies on him and cares about him deeply and will ask for help. Zoro, I feel like, respects Nami for her skill and does not respect her personality in the slightest. Like this is one that, to me, I've never seen Zoro give a vibe of like, yeah, I respect what you're going for at all. The live action is a similar dynamic, but more spelled out, I feel like. She put him in debt towards her. That is true. Because Zoro owes her money. I mean, yeah.
Okay, let me...
This is a hard one.
They are. I'm trying to think about their most recent interactions. Like, what do I think about their development in Wano? Like, he really leaned on her for navigational skills when they were preparing to battle against Kaido.
Yeah, which is, expected. Zoro was on his own for most of the Wano that was character rich, though, so it's hard to really do much there.
Okay, here's how I feel about their relationship. When Zoro and Nami are standing beside each other, I can see them being in a really good, passionate relationship and getting to know each other deeper and deeper and actually falling in love. I say no, because ship for no Straw Hats. But...
only one ship for Straw Hats, I agree.
No, but I also kind of see that Zoro might distance himself from Nami because he could see himself falling in love with her.
What it feels like a very... There's a lot of tension in the vibe here.
Yeah. Like, he's protective of her. When something happens, he wants to be one of the first ones to defend her, but he also wants her to defend for herself.
Zoro in general is like, he keeps an eye out for the weaker Straw Hats.
You know what? I don't want to say it's a B tier, but it's a B tier for me.
That's kind of where I'm at. It feels like there's something there that's not fully explored, and I think it can't be fully explored because you're right. The chemistry is too romantic, and Oda doesn't want to do romance on the crew for good reason.
I think that's what it is. I feel like when Zoro
it's weird to say, but yeah.
If he spent too much time with Nami, if she spent too much time with him, I could see them falling in love. And I think that they both know that, and they just kind of keep a little distance. Like, they leave room for Jesus in between them.
How low are we going? Because it's the Straw Hats, and I don't think any of the relation... I mean, the lowest, I think, will be D instead of F, because there's none where it feels like a badly written relationship. The lowest there is when it feels like there's nothing there, and that's a D.
Okay. I'm sticking with that. What do you think?
Zoro and Usopp, I'm sticking with it. I think B is right. Zoro and Usopp is a weird one, too.
Oh, yeah.
I think Sanji sees value in Usopp more than Zoro does, if that feels fair to say.
Interesting.
I think you see lots of moments of Sanji being like, hey, just because you're weaker than me doesn't mean you can't help. You have so much. I think like him leaving the crew, I think his bratty attitude, I think the way he talks about himself, I think a lot of that like just bothers Zoro because of how against his worldview it is.
But I also think that Zoro has learned to really appreciate Usopp. Like when he said to him, I need you to do what you can so that I can do what I can.
Sanji did that.
Oh, sorry, that was Sanji.
Yeah.
But when Zoro appreciated his Soja King and was like, you are so much more capable than you're allowing on, and you need to be able to take this.
I think that was Sanji also.
No!
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure their only interaction was, you fucking dumbass, you handcuffed us together, now you're my sword.
No. Let me just think.
That help us out.
Zoro was the one that trusted Usopp's marksmanship to take down Sugar and save the day.
Was it? I don't remember this.
Yeah, it was. It was Zoro.
Okay.
Zoro was the one who said, like, you can do this, and then Zoro went jumping up to do the... Zoro then went jumping up to do the Pika Pika dude.
People are saying things like Zoro empathizes with Usopp in a way he doesn't verbalize, but like, because that's hard to say. It feels like a lot of during Mary's funeral there was a nice Usopp Zoro scene. Yeah, that's true. There was empathy there. There was him being protective of him in Syrup Village. I feel like this one to me is a C though. Like it doesn't feel like there's respect, but it doesn't feel like enough to be meaningful or meaty, you know?
I feel like so much more needs to be done with their relationship. Like that I'm looking at the relationship and I'm seeing how many foundational pieces are there and we're not hitting them.
And for core Straw Hats, for early 2 core Straw Hats to feel like there's not that much.
They've been there the whole effing time together, so it's weird that they have so little. Like they have had to have reliance on each other, but
I fully agree with this chatter that it's a C, but it feels very close to a B.
I'm going to give it a C as well, and I really hope to see this come up to an A. I'm kind of sad about it.
Yeah, there's potential for an A there. After Usopp, the next crewmate is Chopper. Zoro Chopper I kind of like better than Luffy Chopper.
Interesting. I would totally agree.
There's not that much of it. There's not that many times they interact, but there feels like the way he calls him doctor, just they're adorable together. I don't know how to even verbalize what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's big
People
little
will pick
bro
up on
vibe. We skipped
Sanji
Sanji. We skipped Sanji. I forgot about
Don't worry,
Sanji.
we'll pick up on it after.
We'll go
Let's
back.
just do Chopper.
Let's just do Chopper. I just really like it. I think it to me is a, but a higher A for me than Chopper and Luffy.
Well, we've been with frickin' Chopper since all the way in chapter 141. It's not like it just started happening. Zoro is super protective over Chopper. Like, he defends him all the time against different enemies. And when Chopper transformed in Thriller Bark into his monster form to protect his friends, Zoro was the one that fought alongside of him and was like, no, I trust you. You may not think that you have the brain to not hurt us, but I trust you. And he fights with them.
No, I really, really like this dynamic. I think it's bordering on an S, but there's just not quite enough of it for me to put S. Like, it's not frequent enough interactions for me to see it, but like, I really like it. You saw Frankie, you clicked, fair.
Let me just see. Was there anything in post Wano?
There was him chastising Zoro for breaking all of his bones while he did emergency medicine.
Oh, that's so true. They have that really coolness in their relationship where Chopper is always running around being like, stop hurting yourself.
Stop almost dying every day.
Yeah. Why do you have to keep almost dying? You're crushing my heart. I'm giving this one an A, but I'm giving it an A that wants to be an S.
That's kind of how I'm feeling. It's close to an S, but it's an A. So Zoro Sanji to me is like, we're not ranking based off how much they love each other. We're ranking how well written and compelling the relationship is. It's an S. It's beautiful. I love it. This is great.
I disagree.
You disagree? You disagree about Sanji Zoro being an S? Okay, you tell me.
It's an S plus.
Frankly, understandable. I'm not there, but I get it. I get what you're saying.
They're brothers. They're two halves. They're two halves of the same coin. Both of them, they completely disagree with everything they do. They interact with each other even when they're not interacting with each other. They talk about each other when the other one isn't around. They make fun of and belittle the other person constantly. When they have to give in and be like, okay, well, that was kind of good. They use each other as the very best competitive dynamic in this entire thing. But these two compete against each other nonstop.
There's also nuance to it, which I think is so interesting because the relationship is not equal. There, to me, is more real animus going from Zoro to Sanji than from Sanji to Zoro. Sanji is more willing to break and be positive about Zoro. Zoro has never said Sanji's name. Sanji said Zoro's name about 8 times. And I don't think that Zoro hates Sanji, but I think his world, it's similar with Nami. I think because his ideals matter so much to him, Zoro's a character that when he sees someone with ideals that directly conflict with his values, there is a bit of hostility there that doesn't go away. And I see it with Nami, and I do see it with Sanji as well.
I also think, like, when you see them in Sabayoti, when he's like, calls him by the number that he shows up, and then they immediately fight together as if they've been fighting back to back their whole lives. We only see them fight with each other at like
3 times.
Long Ring, Longland, Water 7.
Oh, yeah, we see Water 7 4 times. Sabayoti and Wano.
Yeah, and I think they need to fight together way more.
Yeah. It's one of the best relationships in the series. Fuck it, I'll give it an S+. It can be up there with Robin and Luffy.
I'm gonna honestly say, for me, no, let me think on it. Let's decide which is our favorite relationship at the end.
Okay, I think for now, what we've done so far, my personal favorite is Robin Luffy. I think the strongest is Zoro Luffy. Like, I can say objectively, without my bias in the way that makes me like Robin Luffy more, I think that Zoro Luffy is the best.
I think I think they have the best the most compelling and interesting relationship right now.
Interesting, interesting. Okay. So let's move on to Zoro and Robin. This is a really popular ship for a reason. I think they are adorable together. I love the distrust at first. But I love that there's distrust, but that Zoro immediately respects Robin because Luffy says so. I love how their relationship develops. I love him. I also love that they're the goth kids.
They're what?
Zoro and Robin are the goth kids. They're the darkest and most serious and grim of the crew.
Oh, I don't see Robin as dark. Because she's able to see the romance in Luffy. That made me see her different.
But think about how readily people will be like, "Where'd they go?" And Robin's like, "What if they got massacred and their heads were ripped off?"
I agree, but I don't attribute.
He's an edgelord and she's goth.
I don't attribute Luffy telling Sanji that he trusts Robin and then Zoro agreeing to their relationship. That's Luffy and Zoro's relationship.
But I still love the way this relationship develops. I love the relationship between Robin and Zoro.
I like the way that Zoro often sees and watches Robin's fights. Like, he sees her doing all her cool things, and he admires her for her abilities. Every time she snaps a neck, you can see Zoro feels like an angel gets its wings every time Robin snaps a neck.
I also think them just being the most serious crewmates, they have a lot of respect for each other in that way, that they're the pragmatists.
Yeah. Let me think. What'd they do in Whole Cake? Not much.
I mean, Whole Cake, neither of them were in it. They weren't there. They were gone.
No, they were off.
Dressrosa, they were separate, unfortunately. They were doing different separate fights, so they couldn't really interact much.
You know what? I think that if Zoro were to talk about Robin, he would talk about how she is beautiful and intelligent, fascinating, shifty, and also fights awesome. And I think that Robin would say that Zoro is brusque and hides his depth and learns from his mistakes. So I'm going to give this a solid A.
I also love that she calls him swordsman. I think it's cool. I don't know. This one's an S for me. I'm putting this one in an S. I think there's not that many that we've disagreed on. For me, just this is one of my favorite interactions. I really like it.
Good for you. Okay. I'm an A.
Maybe my Robin bias is showing in these, with both of my Robin rankings being two of the ones that I put higher than you.
No.
But she is, in my opinion, one of the most compelling characters in the series, but we'll see.
You know what? I would even give this an A+. You know how I like to add categories?
Can we just... I think it's fine to say it's a high A. That way, when the editors are making the tier list, they just slide it up higher than other stuff on A.
A+ it is.
Okay, so... do as you will, editors of the future. Okay. Look, I'm sure there will be a couple Robin ones that I put lower. Don't worry. Let's move on to Zoro and Frankie. This is a relationship that I feel like almost doesn't exist. And it's carried almost entirely for me by Wano. When Zoro gets sent flying by King, Frankie catches him and is like, "Hey, you all right, man?" And he's like, "Yeah, I just got to get back to it. Thanks for the assist." He's like, "All right, get back to it, man."
You know what? Wano was what solidified my Zoro Sanji. When Sanji is carrying Zoro around as a little mummy dude.
Wano was necessary for a lot of crew relationships that felt like they'd started to slip. Because the Straw Hats were so separate. Like, I felt like it reinforced a ton of them really well.
I feel like Frankie and Zoro might respect each other, but I think if they had to spend any time alone in a room, they would need booze.
Absolutely. They have drinking buddy vibes though, right?
Yep. Yeah, they should drink together and that's all.
Yeah.
I'm giving them a C+, C.
I want to give them... I would give them C. I'm going to give them B exclusively because of Frankie saving Zoro twice in Wano and being like, "Hey, you good, man? I got you."
No, not enough for me.
Fair. I think that's valid.
They're a C plus for me.
Zoro and Brook is a very interesting one.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think Brook is more serious with Zoro than he is with any other character.
Anyone. Brook is like meets like. Brook admires his sword fighting, but Zoro equally admires Brook's.
Yeah, like they respect each other as swordsmen a lot, and it's kind of cool.
And Zoro has never asked for Brook's whistling technique.
I mean, he's not a subtle guy. He likes to be loud and brash with his and he keeps Zoro's secret. He does. He saw what happened with Zoro and respects it. I think because of him being the only Straw Hat who saw Zoro's sacrifice and who saw him fight Ryuma with Brook's shadow, Brook is serious with Zoro because there's an insane amount of respect there.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of my favorite relationships. Like, this would be in my top 5 for sure. I really
remember
like
how impressed Zoro was when, like, Zoro was one of the ones that really understood how impressive what Brook did in Whole Cake was.
Yeah. Wasn't Zoro not there? What do you mean?
No, when he found out about him stealing the poneglyphs.
Oh, yeah. I want to say this is an S, which is weird because I think it might end up being my only S for Brook, if I'm not mistaken. But, like, I don't think there's any other character Brook is so serious with, and it's really fun to see the silly goofball be like, this guy deserves seriousness and respect.
I'm giving it an A.
That's fair. Man, I've been going higher than you on a few, which is weird because I feel like normally when we rank stuff, you go way higher.
You think that, but once you're ranking things, you get surprised. I would give it an A plus, actually.
Guys, this is not dad bod Frankie. Dad bods don't have like visible pelvic muscles. This is like weight power lifter Frankie, where there's just like stabilizing muscles, so the muscles aren't as are softer looking.
Move on.
Dad, but yeah, this is strongman Frankie. Strongman with power lifter Frankie is different than dad bod Frankie.
Are we on Zoro and Fish Face, my old gym?
Zoro and Jinbei, do they talk? Do these men talk?
I think I just realized that there's a relationship where people have less relationship than the one that you're drawing.
It might have less, which is so weird because I think they should get along a lot. There's both honorable, respectful, serious, stoic men. I feel like they should have absolutely a great relationship, but like, I feel like this is a D because do these men talk?
I'm trying to think of a time when they are having they wouldn't pass the Beckman test. Like, what?
They have not spoken with each other.
Yeah.
This one's a D, y'all.
I can't find a single moment in my brain or my notes. The Beckman test is. Yeah, I'm sorry. I've gone back through my notes and I just realized I didn't write anything for them.
I think this one's a D, y'all.
Oh my god.
Jinbei had to throw Zoro an egghead. There was, you know what? The only interaction we've had is very recently an egghead of Jinbei being like, I'll go get Zoro, and just carrying him away from the Lucci fight. That's all we've had.
So I'm going to go D.
Just picking him up, being like, all right, and then throwing him at, yeah.
Donnie, I know what the test is about. I was being funny.
Yeah, Jinbei scores you say will be low, but there's a few that are going to be pretty good because we've had some really good Jinbei interactions with some of the Straw Hat crew. We'll get to some of them soon. For now, let's go through. I don't think there's any worth noting. Zoro Vivi is an interesting relationship that I would give a solid B to. I think that's the only honorary Straw Hat that I think is worth noting.
Yeah, move on, man.
All right. Nami. First one's Nami Usopp. They're adorable. This is an S tier. They're so cute together. I love them
Nami
being
and
together.
Usopp?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, this is an S.
No, it's not.
Are you gonna say it's an S plus?
Yeah.
Okay, fair. I'm going S, but since you think more highly of it, I think whoever puts it higher, if we disagree, should be the one that explains it. Does that sound fair?
Okay, yeah, that does sound fair.
All right, go off.
First of all, they've been in the relationship the longest out of almost anyone here.
Mm-hmm.
They're both the cowardly people who are the ones who are always afraid to get in fights, and yet somehow when they're together, they manage through not cajoling to do better, but cajoling to be afraid to actually bring each other up every freaking time.
Mm-hmm.
They make each other that much better. Usopp is the one that created Nami's weapon and believed in her when she was like, I want this done better. He was like, okay. He is never pervy with her. Usopp is one of the ones who is like, no, Nami is straight sisters all the time. Like,
Yeah, the
Nami
only
is
time we see him perv out is when she does the happiness punch, but Vivi's also there, so maybe he was perving on Vivi.
exactly. Every single time they're the two scaredy cats who are off on the side. They have mutual reliance. When that dude was scroping on Nami and he showed up looking like a fly pop and saw what was going on, he was like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
You do not do that to my sister.
People are pointing out we have their them being cute with meeting each other in Sabaody. We also have them the Climatact relationship of the Climatact at first being an Usopp
I already
invention.
said both of those things.
Oh, okay. Well, I somehow missed those. Well, whatever. There's a lot to this one.
Then you have their coordinating efforts in Onigashima that showed their mutual respect for each other. I just think that this is
Wano was huge for them too. Wano was huge.
Wano was relationship plus for them. I just think that Nami and
I'm not
Usopp,
gonna always let you talk me up, but I'm gonna be talked up to an S plus. This is one of the best
Nami
ones.
and Usopp, if I was to say, like, if all the crew left each other, these two would always find each other.
They'd be on a crew together still.
Yeah.
Mm.
They would always find each other. They would always bicker, but they would always have each other's back. Like, you remember when that dude perved out a Nami, see-through bullshit boy, and Usopp was just like, I didn't mean to see you naked, and she was like, help me, and he was like, number one, I think the part of the reason that he became so impressive in Thriller Bark is because of Nami.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is such a detour, but everything you've said made me think of this. I think that some of the Straw Hats get laid at their parties that they do at the end of a arc. These two in my head have always been ones who get laid in a party after, and I think they wingman for each other.
Nami and Usopp?
I think they wingman for each other 100%.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
They have no interest in each other, but they have full respect for each other, even though that's not what Nami would call it.
Yeah. Yeah. This is my headcanon. I think this is one of the better relationships in the series. So S plus, I
love this relationship. It's real. It's based on fights and friend and love and anger. It's dynamic. It's changing. I love this relationship.
Okay. Nami and Sanji's a weird one, huh?
Yeah. How do you be friends with somebody who's so pervin on you?
But also, she exploits and abuses that, but also, he's a perv, but also they love each other. Look, I agree that Nami's gay for Vivi, but you can be gay for someone. Look, here's what y'all need to understand. If you have, like, romantic chemistry with someone and then leave to go sailing on a world-spanning adventure for the next 2.5 years without them, it's okay to hook up with some people at parties on the way.
Let me think.
Sanji and
Sanji is hard.
It's a really good relationship in a lot of ways, and like if you think about a lot of if we were doing live action, this is one of the top. This one was really well. All the Nami relationships were really well written in live action, except weirdly enough Nami Usopp, but Usopp barely exists in live action.
Here's the thing about this one.
Yeah,
I honestly believe they have an amazing relationship in a very awkward, cringy way.
There's a lot wrong with it.
If Sanji actually fell in love with someone, I believe that Nami would take such a back seat that he would no longer value her in his friendship world in the same way, and he wouldn't be able to transition as well.
That's a real issue. However, I think there's some cute stuff to the relationship. Like, how much Nami relies on Sanji and feels safe with him is something worth noting. And, like...
I'm giving it a reluctant A.
that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I could see an argument for S, I could see an argument for B, I could see an argument for C. There's so many things you could do with this relationship that I think an A just kind of makes sense.
I agree.
Yeah. Look, it doesn't have to be a guilty pleasure S or a messy S. People are saying a messy S maybe, but like, I think it's fine if you want it to be an S. I think this will be uploaded to YouTube. I think this could be anything. I think there is no ranking that doesn't make sense for this in my head.
It's the reluctant A in my thing, but I would agree.
Okay, wait, people sitting here, it's turning O2 into CO2 between Frankie and Zoro being drinking buddies and Usopp and Nami being each other's wingman. I kind of want a One Piece bar AU. Look, it doesn't need to be a full AU. They do parties all the time. Like, this is just how I think they are at parties. Oda's not going to draw some of this happening. He's not going to draw like Usopp picking up chicks, but I think it's happening. Why do you think he's standing on a stage lying about how cool he was every time? Well, for reputation probably, but you know. Which one is next? Who next? Chopper. Nami Chopper. A?
I ran away.
She ran away. She ran away.
Not a drink. Nami and Chopper?
I feel like this is an A for me.
It's an S for me.
I want you to explain then. I don't
Freaking
think
Nami
I'm going to be talking
loves
about this.
Chopper. Nami thinks Chopper is the greatest thing since goddamn sliced bread. Nami would go to the wall for Chopper. If you effed up Chopper, Nami would be the first one that would be there like, I will kill you. You will die the deaths of 1,000 deaths. And I think that Chopper often has put himself in really dangerous positions and leveled up because of Nami, because he was protecting Nami or on Nami's orders. And Chopper takes Nami and her authority over the ship and her power and knowledge very seriously. Yep. He would not F with Nami's knowledge. And so when Nami is like, we have to do this, Chopper's like, okay, 100%, here I go. There's something very adorable about their relationship, but there's also a lot of respect.
Yeah, I agree. I still think high. I'm thinking a high A. I'm thinking one of the higher A's, but not an S, but I see what you're saying.
Oh, for me, Nami and Chopper, like I could see Nami one day being like, Chopper, where are you going? And he'd be like, I don't know what to do. And she'd be like, come on the boat with Usopp and I. And he'd be like, okay.
The coward trio being a pirate crew would actually be great.
Yes.
What if they didn't have Luffy's bounty boosting them, because you get a bounty boost for working for an emperor, seems like. I still think they'd be pretty powerful. I think Nami could, on her own at this point, have a bounty of like 200 million berries. Like,
agreed.
If they were their own crew, I'd see like 200 million for her. Usopp, probably similar, maybe like 170, and Chopper, I think, would have like a 300 million berry bounty at this point.
Well, if they actually gave Chopper the bounties,
they gave him a real bounty. If he was on his own, I'm thinking he might get more cred. Like if they were just on. I really
feel like people can use Chopper's story as evidence that Oda really has an understanding of the world, because people see Canada as this thing that is like. Is like just this cute little thing, and we don't talk about how dangerous Canada actually is, and it controls most of the world's fresh water.
Yeah, I think if they were on the weakling crew together, he'd have the highest bounty, because you can't ignore the strongest crew member. But if you could ignore him, you know, if they might choose to anyways. I still think that but I just want to say, even if Jinbei and Zoro have less of a relationship, this one's still funnier to me because they've been on the crew together for so long, and I feel like there's nothing there.
For whom?
The one I'm drawing.
Oh yeah, there's nothing there.
It's bizarrely empty.
It's an empty relationship of non-existence.
So moving on from Chop, Robin and Nami is another interesting one. Nami has great relationship chemistry with the Straw Hat Crew is what I'm learning.
Yeah, she does. She's got a really... Who do I think she has the best relationship with?
Probably Luffy, but if we can't pick Luffy, it's tough to say.
But it is Luffy.
I think probably if you can't pick Luffy, it's Usopp. This one's an A to me. It's the Nami Robin. Like, Nami loves Robin and looks up to her like a big sister, and it's really fucking cute, and was so much more upset by her betrayal and so ready to go to bat. Like, nothing has made her brave as much as wanting to save Robin. And I also feel like Robin treats Nami like a little sister.
But also, she's the one that believes Robin immediately and then says to Luffy, we're going to go and save her, right?
Yep, exactly. And Robin calling her navigator and giving her so much faith and credit, and like, I feel like Robin being so smart sees how impressive Nami is.
Yeah, and then you have like in Skypiea when Robin decides this is where the stuff is going to be for the ancient language and blah blah blah. Then Nami follows her lead and is like, "Okay, I trust in your expertise."
Yeah.
And then they work together in Thriller Bark, battling against Oars. And
first time chatter.
Robin uses her ability to support Nami's attacks there. Hi, first time chatter person.
That's actually a really good point, first time chatter. The idea that the world government made his bounty low so people wouldn't keep trying to turn in random reindeer. So his bounty is basically just an alert board being like, hey, watch out for this, but that doesn't make you go hunt reindeer.
That's hilarious. They often fight side by side, like they fought side by side in Sabayoti.
Yep. I like this one. This is an A for me. I feel like it just doesn't have enough for S, but like it has the potential. I really do like Robin and Nami's relationship. I also Egghead boosted this one too. Egghead boosted all of the relationships with the Coward Trio and Robin because the four of them were alone. Well, they had Frankie, I think, but the four of them were together. And when Saturn is like, I will kill you, Nico Robin, Nami being like, fucking bet, I will not let you touch her, is great. It boosts this a lot to me.
This one, I'm angry that it's not an S.
That's kind of how I feel. It feels like it should be, but there's just not quite enough, you know?
Yeah, I feel really pissed off that this isn't an S tier, but it's an A.
Egghead brought it really close, I think.
I agree.
Oh, it was Brooke, not Frankie. Okay, so it was the Coward Trio and Brooke. So a lot of the weaker Straw Hats when it comes to like might, because those are the ones who are really good at dealing with lots of weak opponents, but not necessarily, and doing specific powers, but none of the brawlers. So that's kind of cool. A with S potential is exactly correct, I think, for this one. Nami and Frankie is an interesting one. Because she finds him very off-putting, huh? But also loves all the gadgets.
I'm trying to think of like anything.
There's moments of him showing off weird shit and him being like, that's so dumb. But also there's moments where he invents something for her and she's like, that's amazing and I love it. That's kind of what I agree too, Tavion. It should be better considering it's a navigator and a shipwright, but it's only kind of okay. It's a C to me. Like, I feel like there's stuff there to it. It's not a D, but there's not enough.
Yeah, I'm going C as well, and I'm going C disappointedly. Like, how is your navigator and your shipwright, how are they not having a wicked relationship?
People are kind of pointing out that, like, yeah, the peak of it is kind of the Sunny intro, and since then, what has there been for the two of them?
Nothing.
You know, yeah. Let's move on to Brooke. This is a difficult one.
And Nami?
Brooke and Nami, yeah.
That's a D for me.
I'm gonna go C. No, there's no positive. No, you know what? He actually gives credit to Brooke for all the amazing stuff he accomplishes, so I'm gonna give it a C.
Okay. Give me an example.
Wano, when he gets the poneglyphs, she's like, holy fuck, wait, you already got them? What the fuck?
Okay. So that one time?
Yeah, that time.
Anything else?
So this one's a D.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's mostly Brooke's fault. I feel like it could be a C if not for his sexual harassment.
When you ask someone to see their goddamn underwear every day, you're not going to build a great relationship.
And when we get to it, Brooke and Robin have a great relationship, though, because there's more to the relationship than that. Whereas I feel like with Nami and Brooke, that's kind of where the buck stops, you know?
He also stops, man.
Yeah.
He never does it to Robin.
He does it like once, and then she's like, no, fuck off.
She just says it in a low tone voice. That's enough. And he's like, my bad.
Like Brooke and Robin, when we get there, it's a really good relationship. I love it, and it makes it disappointing that Brooke and Nami is nothing.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb.
Yeah. Okay. So now we move on to Brooke and Nami and Jinbei, which to me is an S. I think this is it's great.
No notes, S.
Yeah, like what do we need to say? It's a lot of why Fishman Island is so beautiful. And on Egghead, we've seen them have so much love and faith in each other. It's been really great. Her not wanting to hurt child Jinbei is like, this is a great one. This is a good one.
She's impressed with everything he does. He's a great admirer of hers. They both are amazing at sailing. She doesn't feel threatened by his ability to sail.
And we have the beautiful apology where Nami really meaningfully considers what's being said before forgiving.
Which is why, even though he's been on the crew for a short period of time, I still feel like he and Nami got it, because he and Nami share a backstory. And because they share that backstory through Arlong, Jinbei really understands what Nami went through, and he really, truly feels that he owes her a debt. And then she says no.
He accidentally put Nami through what he had to go through.
Yep. No notes. It's an S.
It's an S. It's beautiful. The Usopp relationship, starting with Usopp Sanji, I think this is an S. I think it's really cute. I like this one a lot.
I love Usopp and Sanji.
Sanji treats all of the weaker members of the crew with so much more respect than the other brawlers.
Yeah. I would agree, but also Sanji has like a kind of an understanding, like, okay, because it was Sanji who was the one who said, you do what you can do because I'll do what I do.
Yeah.
And when we had that line, I thought to myself, this is a character who actually sees that Usopp appears to be weak, but that the weakness in him is his self-doubt.
And it makes sense with what we learn about his backstory, that he saw himself as useless and worthless. So of course he knows people need lifting up. Like,
yep.
Sanji's empathy towards those, like his need to protect people, his empathy towards those weaker than himself, makes this relationship beautiful. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no, I love this one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think that one's... Is there anything more we need to say, or we move on?
Why would we say more? It's a beautiful relationship.
Usopp and Chopper is an A for me, and it's adorable. I love these two.
Usopp and Chopper for me is an S because I can't get enough of it.
I think that's so fair. You might have noticed my Robin bias raising Robin ones and my Chopper bias lowering Chopper ones, but I think this is an A minimum. It's a high A.
I can't get enough of this relationship. Every time they're together, I'm like, I love them together. He fully takes care of Chopper, loves him with his whole little heart.
They are brothers, and it's adorable. Like, they are the cute brothers, whereas Sanji and Zoro are the brothers who kind of hate each other as much as they love each other.
I also think that Sanji sees more in Chopper than a lot of the other ones do.
Usopp, you mean?
Or sorry, Usopp.
I also... Chopper appreciates all of Usopp's non-combat skills, like inventing and party tricks and art.
And Chopper is the one that calls him Captain for a million years. You want to be called Captain? I'll call you Captain. You're the Soja King? That's fine. Sniper King? That's who you are.
I love it. I love it all. It's great.
And he, whenever Usopp would tell a big tale, Chopper would be like, that is incredible. You are amazing. I am so lucky to be here with you.
Yep.
I love their relationship.
This is a really good relationship. Usopp, I'm struggling to remember. Usopp and Robin is adorable. I fucking pre-time skip. There's basically nothing to it until Ennie's lobby, and from that moment on, this is an S for me.
Usopp and Robin.
Usopp and Robin, the way Robin, the way Usopp goes to tell Robin that they're being saved, he's the one that shoots down the flag. He's there despite having given up the crew because he needs to save her. He sees her as a friend and needs to save her.
Yep.
And then post time skip, they're fucking adorable together. They end up alone together all the time. And he's the only one who notices the messed up shit she says. She'll say something incredibly creepy and he's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, because Usopp for me is a character that doesn't just see through perv glasses. And so he's able to actually have conversations with women where he sees them for people.
Yep. This one, I think you could say A, but to me, it's got S energy, you know? I'm debating A or S. Where are you on it?
I'm just trying to think, wano. Okay, so there was the intense battle with Black Maria, and Usopp encourages her. Usopp and Robin fighting. I don't know. I'm on the edge. I'm an A+ here, honestly.
Yeah, I think high A is where it is. Like, it feels like with so much potential for S, but we just haven't seen enough of the deeper emotional side.
Yeah, we haven't gone there enough that I could give it an S.
I think this one is a high A for me.
A+.
Okay, Usopp and Frankie is adorable.
They have so much mutual respect for their tinker, toy maker, create a world.
Their initial scene in Water 7.
Yep. Yes, and then Usopp getting the shit kicked out of him by Frankie's gang gives them a whole different background than anyone else.
Yep. Their scene together, the fact that, like, Frankie saw him doing a shit job and wasn't like, you're a bad carpenter, feel bad. He was like, you repaired with love for your boat like I've never seen. You're a real man. And
your boat loved you so much, it showed its soul to you.
When we get there, I want to do this soon, within the next month, our One Piece and gender video. But Usopp is a character marked with gender envy, not cisgender gender envy, where he looks at men who are manly and says, damn, I wish that were me. And Frankie, being the peak of healthy masculinity, is such a good big brother role model for Usopp, and it's really endearing.
It's not only that it's peak masculine energy, because I know that people keep talking about him being peak masculine energy, but then you negate the fact that he walks around in tiny little Speedos doing dances.
Well, that's why I'm saying positive masculinity, and people are saying that because very specifically part of positive masculinity is being self-confident in what you have decided matters and not needing to put down others to justify what you love.
Yes. But also that he has, what I'm saying is that he has feminine aspects of himself that he doesn't try to suppress for the purpose of being more masculine.
Yes, he is super, super manly while still doing a bunch of things you could code as feminine.
Super manly? Did you just say that?
Did you? Pink? No, I did not.
Did you just say super manly?
I mean, I did, but I wasn't trying to say Superman.
No, you were trying to say super all the time.
I was not. Oh, super because Frankie. I forgot that was a bit until someone in chat said it. I genuinely punned accidentally.
Yeah, no, I love Usopp and Frankie.
I like the Black Speedo team. I'm sorry.
I think Usopp and Frankie are another group that would be friends. They would be friends forever.
Yep. This one's an S for me. It's one of my favorite Usopp relationships, and he just loves all of the shit Frankie builds so much. Always amazed by it.
Yeah, but it's not just one directional. I think Frankie also appreciates Usopp.
Yep, in a really meaningful way.
Yeah.
Like so many great One Piece relationships that started with them getting beat up. So true.
It's amazing how much this one changed, because we went from like full beats up and you're like, holy damn, Usopp, and it was a moment that we really got to see Usopp come out on his own and stand up for the thing he believed in, which was the Mary. And And then Frankie came to admire that love in your creation because Frankie understood what it mean to love something you put into the world, because Tom taught him that anything you put out into the world has to be loved. And so for Usopp to be like, I have basically rebuilt this ship from the ground up while it's been sailing. I've done a shit job. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying my hardest. And Frankie to be like, I really admire how you are taking full responsibility for the creation, whether it was good or bad. And
Yeah.
just like your heart is in it and you love it. And that they started their relationship in such a positive way that it would be hard to knock it down.
I'm
So
noticing some trends as we go through that I find very interesting. One of the trends I've noticed here is Robin has very specific relationships with a lot of the crew. Like a lot of them feel like they don't feel defined. Robin and Nami feel like they have really consistently unique relationships with every crew member.
Yeah.
And another thing I've noticed is Frankie's very polarizing, where the relationships are either really absent and not that interesting or incredibly unique and compelling. And there's no in between.
And this person, Tav, pointed out Usopp seems to have the easiest time making friends, which is fascinating because he had the hardest time gaining fans. He was either like love-hate with Usopp.
Yeah. There's something interesting about this for sure. We're seeing a lot of like I think we're learning more about each character by doing this, which is really fun.
But I'm also really upset about it because the more I'm seeing this, the more I'm like, come on, we need some more buildup of this friendship. Like, because you just think like the Straw Hats would choose each other over all the other people, for sure.
Yeah.
But you always think of the Straw Hats as being this like freaking bonded to hell. We are the Straw Hats. And then you see like the fragility of some friendships, the lack of a freaking relationship, like Sanji and Frankie just looking at each
I
other
can't
with
wait to get there.
bombastic side
I can't
eye.
wait till we get
Like
to this one.
Sanji and Frankie looking at each other with bombastic side eye, being like, well, we're both Straw Hats. And then them being like, yeah, if there's that. And so it's just kind of interesting that you're like, I think I would like to see a little more flesh on those bones before we end this.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So next is Usopp and Brook. There's not much there, huh?
Oh, wow. Usopp and Brook.
He's like, ooh, a spooky skeleton. What happens after that? Chat, help me. What happens here? What is this one?
Oh my god. I only have one note.
Chat, what's your one note? Is it they both have afros? Someone brought that up.
Oh, that's weak. I'm just trying to think of anything else.
Chat, help us. The scene in the Fishman Island cage. What happens? I don't remember it. Is this a D? I think this is a D.
There's gotta be something more here.
He was scared and now he isn't. He got over his fear after hearing about Laboon. So yeah, he was like, "Oh, you like Laboon? That's not enough." Usopp and they told him the story of Mary. Well, that's something, I guess. I don't
They've
know.
got in chapter 758, Usopp and Brook coordinate their attacks, and then Brook uses his musical ability to create illusions and distracts, and then Usopp takes advantage of it. Of their confusion, and then he lands shots, but like that's not a lot, man.
That's not much. What?
And Wano, they don't even really do anything together.
Yeah, guys, this is a C at best. I'm kind of feeling a
D. No, it's a D. I'm sorry.
D.
Like I can't even. That's surprising.
Did Jinbei and Usopp have anything?
Jinbei and Usopp?
Yeah.
There's an admiration, but
protect me, fish father.
Protect me, fish father isn't enough to create a relationship.
Yeah, that's another D, I think.
I think Jinbei mostly saves Usopp.
Yep.
Like I'm looking back on some of the chapters now and my notes, and you've got like the Hody Joan Jinbei's fish karate protects Usopp and the crew.
That's
Oh, there was in Dressrosa when Usopp learned about how honorable Jinbei was because of his willingness to fight with his friends and how much he admired that.
Uh-huh.
Damn, no, I'm sorry, it's a D.
It's a D. I wish it wasn't. This one feels like it has room
Hey,
to have a
Jazzy boy.
lot. Like
That feels like there's so much
I can
potential
see a
there.
lot of potential there, and it's kind of sad that just like no.
I'm kind of sad about that.
We start with Sanji Chopper, which to me just is a slightly weaker version of Sanji Usopp. It's an A for me instead of an S.
I love Sanji and Chopper.
Yeah, this is a really good pairing.
Yeah, because Sanji's another one of those ones who fights with him when he's like big and he believes in him. He praises Chopper for his bravery. Remember when Chopper was first learning in Alabaster, and Sanji would be like, "Good job, Chopper! Like you're really bringing your bravery up. I'm very proud of you." And then Chopper would be like, "Yay, I'm so brave!" And
but
get
don't
braver
compliment me, but also thank you.
But thank you. And then like in Annie's lobby when Sanji and Chopper coordinated their efforts to defeat when they was it when Chopper went into the room after going wonko bonko and Sanji was trapped in there? I'm trying to remember. Oh, it was. Is it Jabura?
Jabra. Or yeah, either way, like yeah, there's not nothing. I like it. It's a good one. I think this is an A.
They fought together. They fight together in Sabaody. Chopper uses Monster Point.
Like we've said, Sanji with the cowardly crew likes to protect them and take care of them. But I think Sanji also knows that Chopper isn't quite as weak as Usopp or Nami as a combatant and needs more confidence than he needs help a lot of the time.
Yeah, I would agree. But I can't even tell you.
Yeah.
There's something about their relationship that I just love. Like this person put down when Chopper gets really angry about him and his nose bleeds and he's like, "You gotta be more careful, blah blah blah," and he comes up with the thing. There's something about the relationship that isn't fulfilled and yet it feels fulfilled for me.
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
If you want to make it an S, you can. I feel good about a solid A for this one.
No, it's an A.
Okay. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Moving on to our next Sanji relationship is Sanji and Robin. This one is interesting, huh?
That one's weird.
Robin is able to be so blasé about all the flirting and just be like, "Thank you for making me tea and biscuits, chef. That's wonderful."
Yeah, she just acts like he didn't say anything.
Yeah, like just ignores all of the... This one, pre-Wano would be a C for me, and Wano makes it an A, I think.
Why doesn't Wano make it an A for you? Talk me into it.
Save Me Robin is one of Sanji's best moments.
Oh, shit, yes. What a growth moment for Sanji provided by Robin. Oh, yeah, no. That's an A. I mean, shit, that's almost an S for me.
It's not nearly an S. If the relationship had been stronger before that, it would be an S.
Yeah. It just needed to be a little bit stronger before that. It's just a little weak, but damn, I'm sad it is because that was one of my favorite moments in Wano.
It was...
Damn, that was one of my favorite moments in the manga.
Yeah, I feel like this... I said I think Robin has some of the best relationships. This one would be her lowest relationship for me, I think, if not for that scene. That scene is elevating.
That and the amount that did for their friendship and the amount that Robin saw his understanding of her and she
and how much more respectful that is than how he normally acts with women.
Yeah, no, that was beautiful. Thanks for bringing that up. That raises me no problem feeling good about it.
So next is Sanji and Brook, which is a weird and interesting one. There's a lot of nuance to this relationship, I feel like.
Sanji and Brooke should just be simple and isn't.
Yeah, they're both perverts, but like I feel like Sanji genuinely respects Brook in a lot of ways and understands him.
Yeah. There's something that Sanji understands about the loneliness of him. Their
Oh, we
loneliness
skipped
really
Frankie.
grabs on.
Sanji
Pardon?
and Frankie. It's a D. It doesn't exist.
Oh, okay. I can do Sanji and Frankie.
Yeah. it's yeah. It's what the image is about. It's a D.
I would put it even lower. I'm gonna make it a D minus.
There's nothing.
There's less than nothing. It's like they don't know they're on the same ship.
They fought together on the sea train usually in different rooms.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I don't know.
It is one of the worst relationships we have.
Just because it's not there. I feel like there's no potential. They're both perverts. They both have such big brother energy. They're like it feels like they could have a relationship,
Right.
and we've yet to see anything.
But here's how it feels right now.
Yeah,
It feels like
coworkers. You're so right.
it feels like if they saw each other out in the outside world and they weren't in the middle of a adventure, that they would just kind of nod at each other as they continued to walk by. And that's concerning.
Okay, someone pointed out, if we move on to Brook, why it's actually a great relationship. Brook is someone who doesn't need to eat even to survive, but he eats Sanji's cooking, and it's eating for living instead of survival, and there's something really that is cute. That's great. That's so nice.
I agree. That's beautiful.
Sanji and Brook, to me, I think could have more, but has enough to be at least a B for me.
There's a lot too. Like Brook partly gets the poneglyphs because he's trying to help things out because he wants Sanji back.
Yeah, that's true.
And when Sanji finds out about Brook's bravery and going in and being cuddled by fricking Big Mom, it really changes their relationship because he understands how much he put himself on the line. And then I think that it made it so that Brook understood that he had relationships with more than just Luffy, that this was his crew, and that he felt like Sanji was somebody that he wanted to protect.
Yeah. I still, it's hard for me to not put it in B though.
I would agree. It is still a B.
Like it's good, but it doesn't feel like it has the edge of a lot of the A's.
You know what this is going to make me do though from now on, because I haven't been doing this the whole time. I haven't been just thinking. I think of them as the Straw Hats as a collective, and this is going to make me think of the Straw Hats and their interactions with each other when we're in the story. And that's what I really liked about it when I watched that video that he made. I was like, dude, you've changed the way that I read it by asking this question, because now I'm like, okay, like, are we building a relationship here? Is there change in this relationship? Is it stronger? Or who's fighting together? Am I noticing eye contact or ideas playing off each other? And I think it's really, I wish I had done it earlier. And the next time we go through, when we're going through with guests, I'm really looking forward to looking at those relationships more.
I really love how doing these videos feels like we're in the moment appreciating the story more because we're finding all these little bits of nuance.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. I'm glad he did that because from now on, oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much, Dr. Jack. He did to you what you did to us, Mama. That's sweet. From now on, while I'm reading, I'm going to be thinking to myself, when we're having all of our guests, I'm going to be like, okay, while we're here, I want to take note of these relationships and think of them individually. I wonder if it'll change any of the way that I look at the relationships. So all of a sudden I'll be like, holy shit, how did I miss all this greatness?
It might. I mean, doing analysis and reread throughs with a different lens often helps. Yeah, Angle Simp, you were right. The nipples were wrong. Granted, he does definitely have some form of breast implant being a giant robot, so maybe that's why.
The nipples were wrong. That's
The
a thing
nipples
I
were
thought
wrong.
I'd hear every day.
So moving on from Brook, Sanji and Jinbei, I think is an S because of the antagonism.
Sanji and yeah, you're gonna need to talk me into that one. What do
If
you
you
got
look
there?
through the series all the time, whenever everyone else is celebrating Jinbei, Sanji's scowling. He is so pissed off. When Nami forgave Jinbei, Sanji didn't. Sanji still holds a grudge, and why I love it so much is because Jinbei doesn't realize it at all and is just so polite and friendly and doesn't seem to realize that there's any animus there. Sanji gets excited when he has a chance to fight Seraphim Jinbei because he's like, yeah, I get to kick the shit out of Jinbei? Fuck yes, I'm down as hell. And Jinbei all the time is like, hey Sanji, look at my new bounty. We have similar bounties, Sanji. Did you see that? Haha, we're buds.
Yeah, I don't, because of that, I don't give it an S. That's exactly how I saw it.
I
And it
love
made,
it.
I love it, but as far as relationships for me, it's a C.
I'm ranking these as pieces of writing, and to me, it feels great. I love that Sanji doesn't forgive Jinbei, but I also love Jinbei being such like a chill, respectful guy that he's like, yeah, we're buddies.
No, it's not even that. Jinbei doesn't even notice.
It is
Even
true.
though um even though there's times where Jinbei literally protects him, it pisses Sanji off. That's why it's a C for me, and I like it. It's a C, the relationship, because it
Yeah,
doesn't have the intensity of a Sanji Zoro, where the rivalry is a thing that is known and built on. I
yeah.
don't feel like there is a relationship. It's one person who doesn't know that the other person is like, screw yourself, asshole. And so because of that, there isn't a real relationship. I like the writing around it, and I like what it does, but for the same reasons as you, mine is a C.
Fair enough. I think that's valid. We just took it in a different direction.
Yeah.
Oh, we haven't been doing our check-ins with Temp Straw Hats, so real quick, I want to see if we agree on some of the ones we've gone through. Usopp and Vivi to me was at least an A, possibly an S.
Yeah, I agree.
Zoro
I
and
love their
Vivi,
dynamic.
Zoro and Vivi was fucking adorable. I would say the same thing. Like they were so cute together.
Zoro and Vivi is another one where I actually would want them to get married at the end.
However,
If it
the
wasn't
only
Nami.
ones, if it wasn't for Nami and Vivi, the real ship,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
an S tier, they are wonderful.
Yeah.
Mr. 2 and Sanji, now that we're in the temps at the end for Sanji, I think is actually fantastic. I loved their fight and how they respected each other by the end.
I 1,000,000% agree, and I think that they could be the most ridiculous friends.
Yeah, I love them. Yamato didn't really interact with anyone other than Luffy, unfortunately, so we can't do Yamato.
I honestly believe that it feels almost like I've never met Yamato. That Yamato was a figment of our imagination based upon a character called Oda, or a character called Odin, and that I really look forward to meeting Yamato one day.
Yeah, Sanji and I think that's good for the temporary Straw Hats. I don't think we need to, or the honorary Straw Hats. We don't need to go over them anymore. So we come back through after Sanji to talk about Chopper. Chopper and Robin to me is just Nami and Robin, but better because it adds in the cute elements of Robin all the time in the background, pulling candy out of her purse to give to Chopper, and that's cute.
I'm sorry. Robin and Chopper for me is S plus. I cannot be talked out of it. The fact that woman,
you don't have to talk. Here's the conflict for me is I keep lowering Chopper pairings and heightening Robin pairings. So what do? I agree with you. Yeah, S plus.
Yeah, she loves Chopper so much.
And SBS said that she doesn't like sweets at all and only carries candy for Chopper.
Yes, and I swear to God, at the end of this, the person that she would pick to take with her would be Chopper, and she would protect him for the rest of her life and tell him how great he is.
Mm-hmm.
She loves that buddy so much, it's ridiculous.
It's so good. It's so
And
cute.
she values him. Like, whenever he's fighting, she's always like, "Good job, Chopper." And she always smiles at him from across the things when he's doing whether he's fighting or whether he's being a doctor. She's always like, "Look at him. He's such a good little man. I'm so proud of him."
Her getting mad at Frankie for speaking in Chopper's body, like, don't you fucking
Yes!
dare have that voice in his body. What's wrong?
Yes!
It's adorable.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
That's
this is
S plus for me.
Okay, I think I'm gonna do high S. I'm not gonna do S plus. I'm gonna do high S. It's brilliant.
Yep.
Chopper and Frankie reminds me a lot of Usopp and Frankie and Usopp and Chopper. Like, it's
Didn't we do Chopper? Didn't we do Chopper and Frankie? No, we didn't. I just talked about it from Luffy's perspective.
And yeah,
Chopper and Frankie for me is S. I won't be talking about that.
I actually agree. I think this is an S. It's adorable.
The fact that Chopper always wants to ride on Frankie's great creations and is like, gets stars in his eyes every time Frankie brings a new great thing out. Like, frickin' Chopper loves Frankie so much. And also, Chopper loves Frankie loves Chopper. He appreciates not just his cuteness and his medical ability, but Frankie is impressed with what Chopper is able to do.
That's what I actually love about this relationship most, is I feel like a lot of the relationship with Chopper are either being like, you're a good doctor, or what a good little guy you are, or I respect you for fighting. I feel like Chopper or Frankie is the only character who treats him just like a boy. Just like, you are a boy.
I just saw something I didn't want to see. That I just saw that Oda has done.
What?
Oda has made the relationship of Canada and the US between Chopper and Frankie. Because he's been like, Frankie understands that Chopper actually is powerful and capable.
Just like a person.
And that everybody else in the world is underestimating Chopper's ability, but actually Chopper is incredibly strong and dangerous and smart. And just like Frankie is supposed to be, like, I'm big, I'm bold, I'm capable, but you don't see that I also have a brain and I'm able to make all these inventions and do all these things. And so there's a real relationship of Canada and the US between their characters.
There kind of is. Yeah, this is an S for me. Maybe an S plus. I'm gonna say S, but I could see an S plus argument.
I'm S plusing this shit now.
You know what I find interesting is I've shit on a lot of the Chopper relationships compared to you, but I think Chopper's relationships with the post time skip characters is very fun. Moving on to Chopper and Brooke, I actually think this one's kind of cute. I think it's an A. Like, there's not enough of it to make an S, but there's just a really cute relationship between these two.
Yeah, I would do an A as well. I think that they don't have an amazing relationship, but Chopper has a lot of admiration for Brooke, and Brooke is one of the few people that sees through the clouds and sees Chopper as a multifaceted person.
Yeah.
And there's something about the fact that Brooke is a skeleton that he doesn't need to see the same things in Chopper to see Chopper as people.
Hey, has Chopper spoken to Jinbei?
Chopper and Jinbei is a solid nothing for me.
This is the D tier. They should talk.
They should maybe go out for some cotton candy together, because it's nothing.
All right. So we get to move on after Chopper to Robin. The first one is Robin and Frankie, and this is an adorable relationship, and I see why a lot of people actually ship these two. I think this is a cute one.
Robin and Frankie?
Yep.
People are obsessed with Robin and Frankie.
It's one of the most popular ships. I think this one is it an S or an A? It's fucking, it's cute how much she's off put by Frankie and how much he loves bothering her.
It's an A.
I think I'm gonna go A as well. I think an S is fair.
Will be like, oh, why wouldn't you give this a higher thing? And they could be Robin for life, but I'm anti-Robin.
I know you are. She did grab his balls. That is true. That did happen.
People grab people's balls. It's just like people getting excited about the Hoktui girl. It's really not that big of a deal.
Nothing. Anyone who cares about that is fucking insane. Like, have you never been to a party with a white girl? That's just gonna happen. People are gonna make sex noises. It's normal.
It's nothing worth writing home about.
Go drinking with any woman, any group of women, and you will basically hear the same thing. Like, Nothing.
The one thing that I like about Frankie and Robin is they do have mutual respect in each other's abilities. Like she admires his ability to build and put things together and that he's an engineer, and he admires how brilliant she is and her ability to hunt down things and I admired that. And I think I also admire that they both respect each other's strengths. I think that they in a lot of ways she is both, they are each other's opposites and mirrors, because they're both intelligent warriors, and then at the same time he's loud and brash and she's quiet and withdrawn, and so they are the same and different in ways that make a very interesting pairing, which is I guess why people love that so much. But for me, it's a great relationship, but it's an A.
I think if you want, the reason the two ships are popular for Zoro or for Frankie, for Robin, is because it's either you like the opposites attracting or you like these are the people with the most in common. It makes sense. I get it. I think this one's an A for me. I think there's potential for S, but like they also treat each other as the adults of the crew, as we saw on Zoe, which I really like. I like them.
Yeah, I like them. I don't love them. Your sister's in here looking for a dog leash.
Okay.
Is the dog leash in the pocket up top in the shelving area?
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, you
yeah,
know what?
no,
F
I'm good on
because
that.
of the being alive is not a crime line. That was really nice in Annie's lobby. I really liked them together in Annie's lobby. Their support together was really beautiful.
Oh, you know, nice. Annie's lobby is where they were best, but we're well past Annie's lobby. You had lots of time to do more. And at this
point, it's mostly her being like, Frankie, stop, and him being like, shit-eating grin. Yeah, should I? I don't know.
They're way past Annie's lobby. It's time to do more.
Robin and Brooke is, I think, the best Brooke pairing. I think this one is bordering on S+. It's an S. I think it's fantastic.
I have no notes. It's an S for me. I love this friendship.
It's close to an S+. They have such a great friendship. It's beautiful. I really love these two. Wano heightened it from an A to an S.
Yes, I would agree. Yeah. I think that they were amazing in Dressrosa together. They were incredible in Wano. Yeah, no,
and Thriller Bark they adventured together. Yeah, like they're just like, it's just a really good relationship. It's really well written.
They also have way less. They have an ability to make each other like next level brave. He doesn't seem to give shits anyways, and she walks into the Valley of Death and she'll fear no damn evil. But there's something about them that feels braver together.
People are saying, of course, the goth girl is S with a skeleton, and you know what? So true. Find me the goth girl who wouldn't be best friends with Jack Skellington.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, next.
Yeah, next is Robin and Jimbei, which I have said is the only ship on the crew I support because she calls him handsome. But you have to admit their relationship, for how little screen time they've had, there has been a lot of texture.
Yeah, I just don't feel like the texture is sexual.
No, but she sees so much of who Jimbei is, sees how important the poise and dignity he carries himself is, chooses to walk slowly with him because she's like, yeah, this is the pace I want to do. I'll fight, but I'm not like running and rushing in for no reason. Like it hasn't been enough time for it to be a lot, but I'm going to give it, for me, an A just because of how unique it's been and how much texture has been built up in what we've gotten.
The thing that I like about their relationship the most is that I feel that they, if they were left alone, that they would not feel the need to fill the air with words, that silence would be okay for them.
I feel the exact same way. I think that's so true.
And I think that's what makes me admire their friendship, is that it feels like a friendship that's based on more than words.
And if we were to rank her with temporary Straw Hats, I think Vivi does not like her.
No, wait, I didn't give her a thing for him. I think it's an A+.
A+? Yeah, I'm thinking a high A. Like, if it continues to develop the way it has, I think it's an S.
You know they call high A's A+ in my town.
I am doing my chart how I will. You do your chart as you will.
Okay, but A+ is a simplified version.
You slide them around. It's like how two kids can get A's and one got an 88 and one got an 87, right?
I will allow this.
Yeah, the one's a higher A than the other.
Whatever.
America, I know your grading system works different, so that didn't sound right, but trust me, you're wrong. Moving on. Frankie and Brooke. They've talked, right?
Frankie and Brooke.
They've talked, right?
Wow. Wow.
They've talked. Guys, they've talked, right? Right? Guys, remember when they ran over Big Mom together. That was actually really cute. That was a really cute scene. As shit. Never mind.
Brooke often gets on Frankie's awesome things. Anytime Frankie makes something, Brooke is like, sign me in for that shit.
Oh, they did sing together. Oh, and they talked about Laboon together.
Just trying to find some more things. Oh, Frankie and Brooke work together to dismantle the Smile Factory.
Oh, fuck. You know what? I'm going to give this a B. There's enough here. There's enough here. I think this has been a good one. They're just like, they are bros who hang out and do stuff is kind of it. They just like each other. There's not like a specific texture to it. It just feels like...
This is a B for me, but this is one of those Bs that it's like a friend who you don't hang out with every day, but when you hang out with them, you get into some shenanigans together, and then you're like, that was awesome. Kiss you later, dude. And you're just totally fine for it. Yeah.
I think that's real. I think it's a B, and I think it has the potential to be an A, even though it is barely not a C.
It's you and Ben.
Yeah. Ben's great. Well, let's move on.
Okay.
Have Frankie and Jinbei spoken yet? They've hung out, right? They've talked. They might not have talked. Oh, they spoke because he went to see Tom's brother. That was Tom's brother he mostly spoke to.
How are you going to say that that's enough?
Ben's a friend of mine. Don't worry. That'll be edited out of the video. It basically doesn't exist that we said it.
It exists. You saw it. Don't let him gaslight you.
I'll gaslight whoever I want, whenever I want.
Yeah, I'm ungaslighting you, Engel. Okay, Frankie and Ben. I mean, they helped take down Kaido's forces.
Frankie and Ben? Frankie and...
Frankie and... now it's gotta be in.
Fuck, you just made it into the video. Now we have to leave in the part where I said it'll be edited out, and I'll look like a liar.
Frankie and Ben. Ben and... Oh, damn, my bad. Sorry, I meant Brooke.
Brooke, shit, it's Brooke and Jinbei's who we're at. We're at Brooke and Jinbei. Jesus Christ, you were wrong on every count, actually.
No, I lie. It's not. It's Jinbei and Frankie.
Jinbei and Frankie. Fuck, where are we? Jinbei and... Fucking hell. Jinbei and Frankie. I don't think they did anything. I think it's a D.
Yeah, I'm not loving this relationship. Sorry. Get rid of it.
Were they even... No, they weren't walking around together on Egghead either.
No. Brooke is Ben now.
I think the only one left is Brooke and Jinbei, who I think is currently a D, but I think there's amazing potential for these two.
Brooke and Jinbei do nothing, but they do.
Yeah. I think they are going to be a great relationship. You there? Oh no, she gone. Guys, Mama's gone. Well, hi everybody. Hey, real quick, while Mama has vanished into the aether. Recently I did a stream where I drew some tokens for Magic the Gathering, based off of One Piece. On account of I was talking about Magic the Gathering colors for One Piece. So these tokens will be available to patrons soon once I figure out how to scale them right. So if you need soldier with lifelink or human tokens, if you're a patron, these will be in the portfolio channel soon. So that's Hopefully she returns one day. We'll see her once again. I think this is a hilarious picture. I don't want to do any like meaningful discussion. Mama got Lelucia. Yeah, true. I should send her a message to let her know that she vanished. What if she's... I can hear you now. You're back.
I don't want to tell you what I did. I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
I may or may not be doing this on the island, so I may or may not have forgotten that I didn't have a mic on and just closed the computer I was using to interview and just kind of like pieced out. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh wow, good for me. And now I can't get back on because it thinks I'm in the interview, but I'm not.
That's fun. Well, you're back.
I'm back and front, baby.
Yeah. Whoop. So we were talking about Jinbei and Brook, how they really don't have a relationship at all yet, but it feels like there's potential for a great relationship.
I really hope so, because it makes me so upset that they haven't talked. Okay, I want you to name your top disappointment in a relationship now.
Top disappointment in a relationship? Yeah. I feel like it shouldn't be a Jinbei one because we haven't had time to see what there will be.
No, that's whatever.
I think
Loki's back.
I think Frankie and Nami should have more of a relationship.
Frankie and Nami? I like that as a dislike.
I think it wouldn't have been my choice if not for the chatter who pointed out that they're a shipwright and a navigator, and there should be more to that connection meaningfully.
I would agree that that's pathetic. Frankie and... Okay, I would say that I would like to see more of a relationship between... Well, Chopper is with me for everyone, but Chopper is really good at relationshiping. He's just not really good at getting shown up in the manga.
He's had more of a showing in Wano, which was appreciated, and I just hope that continues.
Yeah.
Yes, Dr. Jack did mention, you know what? The closest thing we have, you are right, to a relationship between Frankie and Jinbei is that Jinbei grabbed the helm of the Sunny and said, this is a good boat, it needs a good helmsman.
Did he say good or great?
Great. I think he said great, but still, Frankie wasn't even there, so that doesn't count.
I think that Jinbei should have given a little love to Frankie, because Frankie built the shit out of that ship.
Yeah, when he showed up, maybe he just doesn't know. Maybe he just doesn't realize that, because like most pirates probably don't have their boats built for them and just get a boat. Like they buy it at a lot or steal it. So like he didn't know that Frankie built this fucking boat.
I think a relationship that I would like to see a lot more of is Usopp and Jinbei.
Usopp and Jinbei, I think, has potential to be like Frankie and Jinbei, but learning a calmer type of manliness.
Yeah, and I really would like to see that. I think
that's a good one.
There's almost nothing there, and I would just like to see something there.
Now, let's say what our favorite is and which one we think is best written, but not like be a personal favorite.
Okay, the one I think is the best written is Sanji and Zoro.
I think Luffy and Zoro, but I think Sanji and Zoro are up there. I think all of those are fantastic.
Yeah. Their relationship to me is my number one love. I just love watching whenever we get anything with them.
I think it hasn't changed from saying it really early on. My favorite relationship is still Robin and Luffy. I love it. I love it deeply.
Robin and Luffy is a great one. My favorite relationship is Zoro and Luffy.
Interesting. So we both put that one up in one of our top twos.
I just think that Zoro and Luffy is going to be one of those relationships that hangs out in the years in the future, like 800 years in the future. We're still going to know who Joy Boy's best friend is eventually, and I think that it's very much like that. I also just realized, you know what, actually the relationship I'd like to see more work on?
What?
Robin and Nami. I want more of that. I want dynamic.
I think it's already pretty good. Like, I think they
No,
love each other a lot, but I think I agree you could do more. You could do more.
Yeah.
It's one of the better ones already. It's just like that I think there's more room there.
Yeah. Rayleigh, that's what I was saying earlier, Angle, that Rayleigh and Roger had such a great relationship, and Luffy and Zoro have that same relationship, and I love it. I love it so much. But I want to go honorable mention Luffy and Usopp. There's something brotherly in them, the way there is with Sanji and Zoro, but it's a very different brotherliness. Similar but different. It's in a brotherly direction because it's warmer.
Usopp and Nami is one that I would honorable mention. I think that's one of my favorites as well. Like, that's a very good relationship.
Don't you think it's interesting that doing this kind of really realigns your whole thinking about the Straw Hats? Because you usually see them as a unified team, and then when you draw this picture of Zoro and of Sanji and Frankie, you're like they literally have nothing.
It's a lot of the ones with nothing is because it's Brook or Jinbei and they're newer and they've been in the series when it's busier and there's more going on.
These bastards have been in since Water 7 and they've got nothing.
They had so much room to develop together, and the only thing we have is like Sanji was willing to participate in pirate docking. That's all.
It's insane. Like, do something.
Oh, goodbye, Citron Appleson. First time chat saying they were able to check this out live finally and are heading to bed.
Hey, Citron Appleson, we're so glad to have you here today. It was a weirder one, but we love that you were here for it.
I wasn't sure about taking someone else's idea and doing it, but I honestly think this was a ton of fun. I think you were right that this was a great idea to do.
I told you I just wanted to have the fun with it because, you know, we always have been having to do specific things, and I was like, that feels fun. I would just like to have fun. And I think that Drawk once said that he would take a bus, run over and back up over things in order to make it more fun.
I said I will throw all of you under the bus for fun. That I don't want to betray my audience, except in the name of fun, because fun is why I'm doing this. I wouldn't have like started trying to make this a job if it wasn't for wanting to have fun.
Yeah, so I think that it's really important. So next week, what are we doing before we move on?
Next week, before we move on, we're doing a character analysis of Ace, but I just thought of another thing we could do that's like this that I haven't seen someone do before. Do you want to hear an idea that I had that I think would be a fun thing to do?
Yeah.
Theory crafting our own villain team ups to make our own versions of Cross Guild. Like saying what personality and power wise would be the coolest villain team ups to have made something like Cross Guild.
I love it with my whole heart. Let's do that.
I think it could be a lot of fun. I think we should do Ace first, but I think that should be one we do.
Remember, we need to bring our mods in here now. We're doing 10 minutes a question before we do our
we're doing the 10 minutes Q&A if the mods want to hop in. Let's go to the
Modersons.
I think they can't come into this one. I think we need to switch to the stream hangout for that.
All right, how do we do it? Oh, they're making us
hangout. Oh, they're making us do a plug. Yeah, we should do a plug first.
Fine, we'll do. I actually read a thing where a person was like, why do I look forward to the plugs? Is it because they're so different every time?
Probably. You're very good at doing a unique plug and putting some verve on it. I think you do a great job.
So I'm just going to warn you that this one it's going to be weirder than usual.
That's impossible. I don't think there's a way to distinctly notice a different level of weirdness with the expectations you've set.
Do you? Okay, yeah. I'm gonna have to ask you, A, hold my beer, and B, don't interrupt me because I really need to have some space for this one.
Okay, well, I think it's impossible that this is going to be noticeably weirder with how you already are.
Okay. Challenge accepted. You ready?
I mean...
Hi there, YouTube. This plug is brought to you by Why Not? Why not? Huh?
Editor, can you show the Pokemon Why Not when she says that?
You be quiet. I'm trying to have space and time. Why not? Why not sub? Why not? Like, why not? Why not? 50,000. Why not 100? Why not? So I ask you, why not?
That was beautiful. That was poetry.
Thank you. If you want to send us a letter, a postcard, the reason why your mother is wrong or right, who you would be in a relationship with, you will have on the screen right over Frankie's sexy chest. That is our P.O. box, and we go there. Why not? Why not send it?
Oh, the mods
I
can
always
get in,
say,
it turns out. I didn't realize they could. Never mind.
we need one more mod. We only have one mod.
I mean, look, if the other mod doesn't want it, we can just have one mod for today.
Who mod is
Red
this?
Potato is not available today, and
Potato
Kaito
busy.
is not available as well.
Stunning, Dr. Jack. We are happy. Everyone, these are your questions. If you want to get involved in questioning, all you need to do is go to our Discord and join up, and you can put your questions in the question place, and then our mods will pick some questions each week to bring for the last 10 minutes of
Just
stream.
so you know, the question place is a thread, so you need to go to the One Piece spoiler discussion and click on view threads, and that way you can see it, because I don't like Discords that get cluttered with way too many rooms, so a lot of this very specific topics are threads.
But if it gets too not findable, one day I'm just going to accidentally make it come out and be its own room.
If you just click the button that says view threads, it shows up.
We can't fight right now. Dr. Jack is in the room. Okay, you ready?
Okay, can't fight around Europeans, it's true.
That is true. It's rude.
They'll get ideas.
Okay, Dr. Jack, unmute yourself. Let's hear your first question.
So I'm going to continue from last time, from KPC51. At what point in the story did your perspective shift from, well, this is an interesting thing my son has been pushing, to, oh wow, I think I might love this story?
Oh, that's easy. That is so easy for me. Skypea.
I think what I find interesting is I feel like you've had a couple shifts, which was from,
Yeah,
oh,
I
this
did,
is
but
interesting, to, oh,
can I
this is
just
pretty
finish that
good.
thought?
Yeah.
Let me just finish that.
Hey,
So I had like a slow shift every once in a while where I'd be like, when we went to Logetown, I was like, this place is so damn cool. Oh my god, were we killing Luffy? And I had some of those, and I had some deeper later on. But the first moment that I was like, I think everyone can burn in hell, I want to keep reading forever, was Skypea. And it was also the first time that I realized, like, oh my god, there's a connection from below to above, how did they get them there? I think it could be this. And it took on a new life for me, and I found that I started to tell people about the story a lot. Like, I would just randomly mention the story, or, oh, when I was reading this, and I was like, oh, I'm a super fan now.
I feel like you had another shift around Alabasta. Like, that was the level where you realized the way you could read it, and then Alabasta was like, you were like, oh, the quality of like character and storytelling, it can be way higher than I expected. And then like the moment that you really fell in love seemed to be Skypea for sure. Like, that was where you were
And
like,
then and then I had another shift when I was reading Ennie's Lobby, when I realized that I had gone beyond superfan and I was fanatic.
And then I think like it wasn't a change of quality perception, but a change of like realizing how much the way you were reading it had been both right and needed to be readdressed with Impel Down, which is why I think Impel Down still stands out for you.
Impel Down is my favorite still. Yeah. Awesome question. Thank you, KP. Okay, next.
Just a second, I want to write the answer down. Let me see.
That's a complex answer.
From Humming Worker, in your opinion, what are the chances Usopp will get done sort of Mjolnir in Elbaf?
Mjolnir, by the way, is what was said.
Mjolnir.
Yeah.
What is that? What was that again?
Thor's hammer of legend.
Yeah.
Right, Mjolnir.
Because only the worthy can pick it up, and Usopp keeps using fake heavy hammers.
I keep remembering that, the fake heavy hammer.
I haven't heard this theory before, but that's really good.
That's a damn good theory. What you have just done is brought me joy to my life with that question. What a great theory. Will Usopp be worthy? Shit, yeah. We are going to find I'm so looking forward to Elbaf, but for one of the reasons is as I think it's going to be another glow up for our Usopp boy. I think we're going to come in there and he is going to find himself the finding that the giants really enjoy Usopp and they admire him, but also that he gets to have a high arc of learning. So Usopp getting some sort of heavy hammer work or working with it or helping to design it or engineer it would be stunning. I can see it being an engineering moment mixed with like legendary technological abilities that are hidden in
Okay,
Elbaf.
hear me out on something so fucking cool. What if he can't lift the hammer that judges worthiness, but he finds like a way to build a dial mechanism so that he can swing it around using jet dials or something?
That would be incredible because it would be like you're not worthy and he'd be like, bite me, I'll make myself worthy.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love that. I love this idea. This is something I can get behind.
That's a good
Okay,
one.
next one. Yeah.
I'm choosing one from YouTube.
Okay.
How do you think the post-time skip islands parallel the pre-time skip islands?
Yeah, I think I'm always amazed that people in the post
Okay.
time somebody in the post time skip or somebody said once like let's see if you can hang on to the interest once you get in post time skip and I was like what are you effing talking about? They're so much better. But pre time skip was amazing because I felt like it was
Oh,
such a long introduction that let us leisurely
so
learn about space and time.
I need to tell you, I don't think they're asking about like how they compare quality wise. They're asking like there's a theory that a lot of the post time skip material is meant to thematically parallel earlier pre time skip material. I think the only one
Oh,
that's
I see.
kind of inarguable is Alabasta and Dressrosa. But yeah, that I think that's more what they're talking about.
I see that, but I don't.
Mhm.
Like what matches Wano?
That's kind of where I'm at. Is there's a lot where people are like, you just have to think about how, and then but people don't agree. Like people will be like, well, Thriller Bark matches Zoe or Skypiea matches Zoe, and like,
Oh, I see. So people see things that to them are there. I don't
mhm.
see it. I don't see it at all. I'm gonna go through for myself and look at Skypiea since it was supposed to be the ending point and see what points match up to Skypiea and what I'm seeing, but I don't see that at all. I do see, like I was saying, I've had 3 or 4 comments where they were like, "I'm glad you can enjoy post time skip. I think the value went down." And I was
Yeah.
like, I was kind of in shock by that.
Like I think I get it to an extent, but I think it's similar to when people are like music is really bad now, where like yeah, if what you're doing is comparing all music on average that you hear on the radio now to the really good songs you regularly re-listen to from the past, but that's insane. Pre-time skip wasn't 30 I want to live moments.
Yeah, no. No. Okay, and then on the other question, what would you like what would be Sabaody in post time skip?
Mhm.
Is that what is even Sabaody? No,
Are we
I
not
don't
there? Oh, Sabayori, I think I've seen arguments that it's Egghead because all of the major players are there. Kizaru, Luffy,
no.
Pacifistas, but even then, eh.
Nah. No. No, I don't see it, but I would love if somebody does and they make a video about it. I'd watch
There's a
that all
few good
day.
videos about it. The issue I've seen is I've seen really compelling arguments from a few YouTubers who do different islands. The only one I've seen is consistent is Alabasta and Dressrosa, which I
That
think
one
is
is obvious.
yeah. Yeah, that one just they're both hot countries that are being ruled in secret or in public by a warlord. It feels like Dressrosa is meant to be Alabasta if Crocodile won.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Dr. Jack. Can you give us another?
Sure. From Sam Fisher. By the way, the last question was submitted from Ryan Smith 2903. Just
Thank you,
wanted
Ryan
to.
Smith.
The next from Sam Fisher from Discord. Mama, what was your biggest surprise in One Piece? For example, was there a plot point you didn't see coming? A character who, after first impressions, you completely changed your opinion on?
Well, we know there's a character I completely changed my opinion on. That was
Foxy
Usopp.
D. Fox.
No, that was Usopp. I hated Usopp.
You did. You were not a fan of Usopp early on.
No, I hated him. And then over time I grew to really love him. What was the most surprising thing for me? Because I'm constantly looking and trying to figure out. It's hard because I think one of the things that was the most surprising for me was that Shirahoshi was a weapon, but it also wasn't, because I had decided that weapons needed to be people, so it wasn't. You might be right, Duck, in that it might be Zhao, because we went on top of a freaking elephant and I could not.
We have to read a Patreon comment, by the way, because I forgot to check the Patreon last time and we missed one. So we're going to read a Patreon comment today.
Okay. But I
you.
would say that it's either it's be Zhao, for I never would have expected, or Zhao. I never would have expected like Elephant Land. Come on, what is Elephant Land? And then it would be Shirahoshi, but not Shirahoshi, because I would never have expected that Wimpy Hoshi would be the weapon. But then I also did, because I expected people to be weapons. So that's a hard one. I'm going to go with Elephant Boy and his giant ass city of greatness.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like
one last question.
If I remember, I just real quick, if I remember anything that surprised you a lot that I remember seeing, it was finding out about the emperors, which you found out about early, but realizing that Shanks and Whitebeard were something bigger than the warlords. Felt like it kind of shook you.
Yeah, that did have a nice little moment of surprise. I liked that.
But you learned about that like hundreds of chapters before the emperors were introduced as a concept, which is interesting.
Yeah. Okay, 2 more questions.
From water bottle, how many shrimps would Luffy have to eat in order for his skin to turn pink?
How many
shrimps?
Friends?
How many shrimps?
How many shrimps? Oh, all right. Well, I know that flamingos can eat for something like 4 days before they start changing color.
But
Do you know
Luffy
that
can eat a
flamingos?
lot.
Do you know that flamingos often can die because as the salt water evaporates in the flats where they eat their shrimpies, then the salt crystallizes around their ankle that's in the water and becomes like a ball that chains them to the ground.
I did
It's
not know
upsetting.
that. That's really fucked up.
Yeah, I'm sorry that you now have that knowledge too.
They should try to not do that.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm going to go with, how many shrimps would Luffy have to eat to become pink? I have now decided off of the top of my head, apropos of nothing, it is 100,000.
Okay. I think that sounds reasonable to me. I think that's real.
Yeah, no, I think that's science. I scienced that, Dr. Jack. What do you think?
It's quite good.
Thank you.
Like the 500 Gomu Gomus and how much 1,000 Hanahas? I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
For time being, we have one more question.
So, from Spike, which character or characters have you find yourself relating to on an emotional level the most?
Oh my god, that's a dangerous ass question.
I want to answer this one too. Monkey D. Luffy, your turn.
That's your knee jerk, is Monkey D. Luffy?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. The one that I can relate to the most is probably also him, but that's just because of the way the story is written. And then I hate to say it, it's also Sanji.
That makes sense.
I feel like I understand, not the pervy side, I feel like I understand his relationships and his childhood in an interesting way, and I can see how it motivates him. Yeah. Damn.
The person
Damn,
who
people.
said I relate to Boa Hancock, I'm sorry, dude.
I'm so sorry.
That's a rough answer.
That's a very rough answer. I'm not a pervert. I don't even know if he said pervert. It
Someone
just
did.
said it was shouldn't. Let's see what it says. Submit. Pervert? I am not, you gross thing. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Dr.
Mhm.
Jack. Let's do that again next week. I
Yeah,
love
wait,
answering
and you gotta
questions.
now read the Patreon submission.
You're
I sent it to
welcome.
you.
You sent me the Patreon submission?
I did. I sent it to you. This is
I
by
love the
Tav, by Tav.
You didn't send me their name, so I can't help you out.
Yeah, I copied it out of the message. So
If you wouldn't mind telling me who it is.
it's Tavian. It's Tavian. It's Tav.
Hi, YouTube. Hey, all. I wanted to talk about Shanks. Since it's been a big month for the red-haired phenomena with his dispatching of Kid and being displayed in that 2-page spread of the One Piece finalist, Shanks has shown up in 20 or so chapters out of 1,121. Despite feeling like a very big presence in the story, how crazy is that he has only been
Honestly, that's more than I would assume it was, because it feels like he's barely existed.
Yeah, I don't know. I also feel like now that this person said Mihawk would disagree with that, I also relate to Mihawk. Yeah, he's threaded all throughout the story, and yet he's only in 20 chapters. This leads to plenty of speculation centered around him and many people who make two huge assumptions about him. Shanks was essentially told everything by Roger, and his goal is to step aside for Luffy in the end. Neither of those sit well with me. Second, Shanks and his crew have said that they are not saints and they don't fight fair at the beginning of the series. I don't think Shanks is going to have a dramatic heel turn, and he will likely die at the hands of Blackbeard before any clash with Luffy. However, there must be something Shanks is seeking for himself, like the other emperors, whether it be the One Piece or the title of Pirate King or something else, and he wouldn't allow someone to get in his way if it came down to it. Honestly, it all probably comes down to me not liking the idea that Shank's ambition comes down to being the water carrier for Luffy's dream. I agree, man. Like, I think we too easily put Shanks aside.
But I think people also, like, the reason is because we can't puzzle out what else is going on, which is also why Evil Shanks is such a popular theory, because we can't quite figure out what the objective is.
Yeah. And I think that there's something there because Shanks isn't just trying to build up strength, obviously, because he's choosing an armada that's quite weak and that he's protecting.
Well, there's something in his crew. Something in his crew, I think, can tell us what he's looking for, because his crew are very weak, but he lets them be free by giving him a flag to fly under. Like,
yeah, exactly. And I believe Shanks is whether we like it or not, or whether it's nice or not, I believe Shanks is carrying some of Roger's will and some of something that Roger needs done. It doesn't mean that Shanks doesn't have his own agenda, though. So then you're kind of like, okay, what else is there? But I think that Shanks may know more truth than other people, and because he knows more truth, he understands the need to protect something or to have something happen.
Knowing he sent Lucky Roo to attack CP goddamn 9 to get the Gum Gum fruit, I think he knows how important it is, and I do think it was bound for Ace, because Roger thought Ace would be the one to get the One Piece. So I think he's not a water carrier. I just think there's more to it.
That's what I said. He knows something that Roger's told him. It's important that he gets it done, and he's trying to see it through to the end. He needs to be there.
He can't know everything, but he has to at least know enough that there was a reason he was like, no, Buggy, I can't go get the One Piece yet. I'm just going to hang out.
Yeah.
Like, maybe he just knows that it's going to take 20 whatever years.
I don't like the idea of Shanks's evil twin. It feels very soap opera.
I didn't used to like it. The reason that I've come around to it, first of all, I've come around to a lot of things just because I think Oda writes better than most authors, so most tropes that I don't like, he can write compellingly. But my big thing is, I was against it. I didn't think it was true. The main evidence people used was that the framing is how an author would frame something if they wanted it to be a surprise. Because they had Shanks talk to the Gorosei, they never refer to him by name, they never show the side where the arm should be missing, and they never show the side of his face where the scars are. So they add a lot of ambiguity very intentionally, and that's what an author would do if they didn't want to reveal something but wanted to leave the room for it to be a reveal later. Like that kind of cheeky thing. It's like how I believe that the elders are demons instead of having powers because of the framing of that one shot with the leaping at the boat, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I think that's the way an author would do it. However,
elders.
the recent silhouette we got makes me think, oh, maybe there is a Shanks evil twin because we see the
recent silhouette we got, to me, looks like he could be an identical Joy Boy body type.
It looks so close to Shanks, though. The sword looks the same, even the hands, the cloak.
But Shanks' silhouette looks identical to the Joy Boy silhouette.
That's true, but he's not alive, and that's meant to be the panel showing us the major players of this final saga, right? That's what the vibe we're getting. Yeah. So it feels like evidence now. I used to be against the Shanks evil twin theory. I'm starting to feel like it might be true.
I hate it. If it's true, I'll learn to get over it.
That's kind of how I felt for a long time.
I hate it though, but I'll learn to get over it. Okay.
Why did someone put a baby in a treasure chest? That's so true.
We are not doing any fits. We're not doing that until 5.
Yeah. We're gonna wait for our reviews to do 5, and then we'll give for that section. And honestly, the next one will probably be the end of Egghead, it looks like.
I would rather just do the 2 things next week and do them very well. So
I agree.
The one thing that we are doing is our little update of the chapter that isn't to 5, so it's a small update. And then we are acing it out. We are going to go deep into Ace's character. I cannot wait.
Tell me what you need me to look up the way I did for Blackbeard, because this is you led instead of the Blackbeard one, which is me led.
And I don't. When you keep doing that over Frankie's nipple, it's very distracting. One minute I'm just watching the show, and suddenly it's Magna nipple.
It's color picker. The color picker zooms in, so you can be precise.
And because of that, and because of Frankie's ability to shoot you out of different parts of his bodies, I keep expecting to be hit in the face with a nipple bullet. I want to state that I'm so looking forward to unpacking the box. I can't wait till the box arrives, Dr. Jack. Dr. Jack has sent us devil fruit.
Another package also showed up, but I didn't bring my ID to the post office because I was used to post office ladies knowing who I was because they've been there a bunch of times. And today was a woman I'd never seen before. So she was like, no, too bad.
Go later. I can't wait because Dr. Jack sent us devil fruit and I cannot wait. Oh my God, I'm looking out the window. I'm looking out the window and your father just showed up with 2 babies on the front of him in a little pack.
I have already a couple times, by the way, just happily stared at the trading cards and been like, hee cards.
Drawk and I played.
Yeah.
Drawk, how did that go? How'd that go, Drawk?
You kicked my ass. I had an early lead against you, and then you slaughtered me.
Yeah, baby. It's now my favorite card game.
Yeah, I mean, we should do a stream where we play it by getting the app.
I agree, because that was super fun.
Mm-hmm.
Nipple bullet is my new favorite out of context line from the stream.
We could do a lot of great out of context. By the way, I'm thinking of hiring an editor to make an out of context compilation of us. One for Mama, one for me, probably. So if anyone feels like they'd love to either be an editor for that project, or just like, if you know what your favorite out of context line, like what episode it's from, that'd be great. Because frankly, I think it'd be funny, and also people love clicking on out of context videos for things they don't watch. So I think it'd be good.
I can't wait until Dr. Jack's package comes. He says he's jealous of our package. Now I feel bad, but I also feel good, Dr. Jack. So thank you. The other thing I was going to say is, I guess I'm going to lead the ace, but get your ace on too. Like, get your ace thoughts up and going, because I want you to feel it. So let's put a thing on, let everybody know that next week we're deep diving into my main boy ace. I'm going to ask people to keep their donuts to a minimum. Donuts to a minimum! People really need to pull their donuts back.
People love donut jokes.
They really overly do. Okay.
Okay.
Anything else? And then the week after is, according to me, oh, somebody put somebody's name in here, and then just in case that person is still in stream, and they very much might not be, I'll look it up. But somebody put somebody's name in here who was doing something similar. Alexandrex, who apparently really likes Syrup Village.
Interesting. That's a weird one. Yeah, we're gonna
And
be
that's
doing
the
the
person I'd
arcs
like to talk to.
individually.
Yeah. So I think it's time that we get to work with people.
Yeah,
We're waiting
that's one
till
we were gonna struggle to find someone for. I felt like, so that's good.
I actually, both of us were like, but how are we going to find people for things like Syrup Village? And when this person put this guy's name up, I was like, are you kidding me right now? If Syrup Village is in your format, sir, then yes, we need to talk. So we're going to get a hold of him, see if he's interested in coming on the show, and if we can maybe do a show together that he could also use in his, and we can talk about walking through Syrup Village together.
I look forward to that. All right, everybody. I'm
I'm
gonna look for
so
someone
excited.
to raid. I love Oak Tea. I might just send y'all to Oak Tea. Every time I'm streaming and Oak Tea's not on, I'm like, I don't know what it is. I always, when I go to raid Oak Tea, have a similar number of viewers to her. Like when I have a banger pop off day, she's having a banger pop off day. When I'm having a chill one, she's having a chill one. Like it's within about 10% of the view count almost every time. It's crazy.
I'm so glad you enjoyed it, Gamer. I hope you guys enjoy weird content. We're going to have our rotation of our 6 main ideas.
Yeah.
I'm super excited. The week after, we're going to be going through and choosing our next manga together.
And
so don't miss.
Sorry, you go first, and then I'll do mine.
So next week, come in, watch us talk about Ace and analyze Ace like we did Blackbeard. And then the week after, don't miss being a part of the choosing of the next manga.
And
thank you so much, Dr. Jack, today.
Thank you, Dr. Jack. Later this week, Mama's going to be coming on for Warhammer 101, the basic timeline. And at the end of that stream, Mama's going to be picking which Warhammer faction we're going to learn about first in 40K. And then after that, on the same day, Mama Drawk's going to design a critter for my critter game, which is going to be a blast. I'm so excited about this. I'm putting more and more time and effort into the critter game. So I am very excited to see what she comes up with.
I'm very excited to see what I come up with too.
Yeah. All right.
I
everybody.
have two ideas right now, so I'm gonna have to play with those.
I accidentally clicked the button and sent them off before we signed off.
Oh no! Squish on, squishies!
Until next time, it's been lovely talking to you. Bye!